Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Live from the Works. And this is, of course, the second part of our biggest little railway in the world watch along. And I am joined tonight once again by some very special guests who I would be delighted to introduce to you now. Our first guest is my very good friend, leader of Team C, project planning assistant for TfL, vice chair of the Railway Division Young Members Group for the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, try saying that when you're drunk, and a tour guide for the London Transport Museum. It is, of course, my good friend Paul. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm very good, thank you, Matt. Lovely to see you again.
Lovely to see you too. And next up, we have the leader of the A-Team, no, not that one, and member of the Model Railway Club. The is very important, and one heck of a DJ, as you're about to see. It is my good friend Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence.
Hello, Matthew. A pleasure to be with you tonight.
Always, always. How are you doing?
I'm fine, well. Model Railway Club, why the the? Because we were founded 110 years ago this year, in 1910, and at that point there wasn't any others. So we were the Model Railway Club.
There you go. Bit of history for you all there. And finally, our final guest this evening. He's an apprentice railway engineer, author of the children's book series, The British Railway Stories, and a lover of waistcoats. It is my good friend Simon. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
How are you doing?
He's rendered him speechless. First time ever.
Waistcoats, yes, but I'm not wearing one today. So.
No, I'm disappointed, if I'm perfectly honest with you.
I've got a turtleneck instead.
Ah, fair enough.
I should have had in Scotland.
Ah, yes, indeed.
The midges.
It would have been good midge proofing, wouldn't it?
Fantastic midge proofing. Right, before we get onto the episode, which we will do quite quickly because we're running very, very late, for which I apologise. I blame the technical gremlins. A few housekeeping rules. Once again, we are not going to be streaming the show The Biggest Little Railway in the World on the stream, because I'm scared of the copyright algorithm, as I said last week. However, you can go and watch the show right now for free if you are in the UK or the Republic of Ireland at the link which I am pasting into the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat room now. So I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes to go off and set that up if you haven't already. And while we do that, we're going to have a chat with our guests about episodes 1 and 2 last week. So guys, obviously last week we watched the first 2 episodes of the show. That was with Dick and Derry. And a few things sort of cropped up that I think I'd love to hear you guys' views on. First of all, question for Lawrence and Paul. We'll go to Lawrence first in order of team name. But people were keen to find out, when and how did you guys actually find out that you were going to be leading a team?
Well, for me, it was when the words left Dick's mouth. Until that point, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd done the interviews, I'd chatted to Charlotte, we'd organised 1 or 2 things, including what you'll see tonight. And then during the health and safety training day, I'm sitting there watching enviously as people are taken away to learn to run quad bikes, people are shown to use special tools, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be laying track. 70 miles and I'm going to be laying track. And then Dick stands up on the back of this articulated lorry, Silver Lady in hand, calls out 4 names, and my name comes up first. And it was a complete shock. And then at that point, Charlotte hands me a list of names and says, there's your team, you're laying the first piece of track, go and do it.
Goodness.
Literally, I think it was about 25 minutes before we were out and on the road. As management goes, it was literally terrifying.
I mean, there's nothing like throwing you in at the deep end, is there? That is ridiculous. Paul, I assume your story's quite similar.
Yeah, exactly the same. I had no official idea I was going to be a team leader until Dick called it out when he was standing up on the back of the lorry. There had been a couple of sort of sideways hints, a couple of those guys roaming around with their cameras the previous day during training, sort of cornered me and asked, what would you think of being a team leader? And I'd given some sort of comment of, it sounds fun if they asked me to do that, but I don't mind one way or another. And I'd assumed they were asking lots of people that and would be coming back and saying, so how do you feel about, now you're working under Fred, do you think he's any good? But no, turned out they picked me.
Oh, blimey. I mean, that, for both of you, I mean, that must have been just like the biggest shock. I mean, it was quite an undertaking anyway, and then to suddenly find out that you were both, to a point, and quite a large point, going to be in charge of making this whole mess work. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think if someone had told me that at that point, I would have had a complete meltdown.
Well, I don't know whether I could just make a comment. Suddenly, I'm in charge of 19 people.
Yeah.
I've got a film crew, a recording man,
Oh, we've lost Lawrence.
a team coordinator.
There he is.
2 runners. Oh, and a regimental sergeant major, and a sergeant major to make sure A, I'm safe, and B, that I march properly. So it was completely unnerving. I don't know. Simon's the best person to ask about how I did, but I was a bit like the swan. I tried to look serene on the top, but I was paddling like crazy beneath the surface.
Well, I think this is an opportune moment, really, to sort of dive into Simon. Simon, how was Lawrence as team leader?
Lawrence, remind me, how much am I getting paid for this?
You're on a sliding scale. Start talking and it'll drop.
Okay.
Oh dear.
No, it was bloody good fun. Lawrence was great. Like, we always had a lot of support from him. We were chatting ideas out. We were always talking. We had great communication. On the team, we had some old hands from the army who were brilliant, George and Bruce. We had so many, like, we had the most varied team, I think, in terms of engineers, teachers, just financial people. This was pre me getting actually onto the big railway, the actual big railway, in terms of engineering. And you look at the team and the way we bonded, even from the first episode when Lawrence jumps onto the bus with a bottle of Prosecco. Was it Prosecco or champagne?
I was going to ask about that. At what point in the day was that? Because it's heavily implied that you finish off the previous day's section, go and grab the Prosecco, and then head off to do more track laying.
Not quite cut correctly.
No, I was going to say that can't have been correct.
What actually happened was quite straightforward. We thought we'd finished, but then they found there was a section that hadn't had the track laid. Somebody messed up and there was a gap.
Okay, yeah.
So I said to the guys, I'm sorry, we're not going back to camp. We have got to do about 500-600 yards. It was on the canal path. It was straightforward. So we piled in the bus. We got there. There was a quad bike. There was a trailer. And there was Dick with his film crew.
Oh, brilliant.
And Dick's doing a piece to me. And at the end of it, he says, well, how long do you think will it take to fill the gap? I said, well, at the speed they're going, about another 3 minutes. And Dick turned round and there was about 300-yard gap between his crew and the back of the retreating trailer. And at this point, I actually watched Dick sprint up the canal path while I'm crying my eyes out. So as we were going back to camp through the village, I asked them to stop. I went in, and it would have been champagne, but believe it or not, there was a slight dimple in my credit card, and it wouldn't scan, so I had to use the cash in my pocket. So it was 2 glasses Prosecco and as many plastic cups as I could buy.
Fantastic.
There then was a rumour circulated.
Oh, we've lost Lawrence.
Actually, production had
There we
paid
go.
for it, which is not. Then everybody was hammering production for additional alcohol.
I wondered where that rumour came from. Anyway, Paul, we're going to come to you very briefly. I'm conscious that we're running over a little bit, so we won't take too long on this. But we do want to kind of touch on something that happened in episode 2. You became, I think it's fair to say, a bit of a legend, and I think Derry was telling us last week that your photo actually ended up in the workshop of some people where he worked who had a problem with management allowing them to take lunch breaks. Of course, I am talking about Lunchgate. From your point of view, what happened there?
I mean, the hilarious thing about that is that I didn't even notice it happening. There were times when I'd had full-on stand-up shouting at Dick Strawbridge. There were times when I'd been chasing producers round and phoning people and having all sorts of arguments that I thought were far more likely to be the ones that featured heavily in the programme. And that particular comment I made about, the priority being getting people lunch, I'd forgotten I'd made it till I saw it on camera.
Because it's played up
but
as being this huge thing on the programme,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think all of us, it was just like a non-event, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it was a nightmare of a morning we'd had. If I
Oh,
remember
God,
it,
yeah.
about 4 times they'd sort of sent us, we had to go this way, and then they said, actually, sorry, no, you're not going that way, you're going that way. So you've got to pack up, move everything along, start laying track at the other direction. Oh, no, hang on, sorry, we got that wrong. We've got someone on the phone telling us to go back the other way. That carried on back and forth a few times.
I think there was one point I recall sitting by the lock, sort of looking out at the beautiful scenery, just despairing, thinking, well, at some point they're going to tell us what direction we're meant to be going in. And I think I wasn't the only one who just felt completely despondent at that point, and just like we were wasting our time.
It really was a horrendous way to get started. And by the time, I heard that the lunch had arrived, I seem to remember we had been told we only had sort of half an hour to get the lunch before the van drove off, and we'd just be left without it. We had people spread over the best part of a mile of canal. And I thought, well, actually, yeah, if we need people to get their lunch before that car drives away and that's their last chance for it, it was true. The priority was go eat your food.
Absolutely.
Put in gaps in the track at any point later. The track's not going anywhere fast.
No, precisely.
It gets really sunny. So, yeah, and that was what I said in a very, very clear manner, admittedly, to Hadrian. But I certainly wasn't expecting that to show up. I don't think anyone was.
I think it backfired spectacularly, because I think I touched on this last week. I feel a little bit like certainly the editing, and I suspected this while we were on the programme as well, that Team C were going to be the clown team. And I said this to a producer who assured me, no, that's not the case. We're not playing that up at all. And it just felt, watching those 2 episodes, it was just a little bit like that. And I just felt that was tremendously unfair.
I disagree entirely on that. I thought Paul and the team came across really well.
I do too. Yeah, but it's certainly that first episode, definitely. They harp on about... they're struggling to get to grips with laying the track. Well, no, we weren't struggling with it. We were doing it properly. I think the problem is we had, a lot of people who maybe... I think our mix of people within the team was, perhaps slightly different to Team A, who, like you say, gelled beautifully. We didn't not gel beautifully, but it took us a while. We were very sort of, we'll do this precisely and, do that, go round the box, work out where we're going. And I think there was a stark contrast to, for example, Team D, who was just bang the track down.
Yeah, we saw some of that.
That was the beauty of it, though. We had four different teams, loads of different people from all walks of life. Like, we were always going to get little moments that were going to be picked up on. Yeah. I remain amazed, to be frank, that they picked up on the lunch comment. Because as we've always discussed privately, quite a number of the group, not just in C team and D team, but actually throughout the group, we had people with diabetes, we had people with other medical illnesses, we had people who, older or much younger, and everyone uses sugar differently when they're out actually doing the hiking, when they're doing the actual physical work. It's common sense. You need energy to do the track laying.
Absolutely. And I think this leads quite neatly into what I want to say, Paul, which is, without wishing to kind of, ass kiss too much, I thought the thing that stood out for me with you as a team leader, you did make sure we were all looked after. And I know I'm not the only one who was very, very grateful for that. I genuinely felt like I had someone in charge who actually cared about the people he was managing. And that was a really nice feeling.
That makes a great leader.
Yeah. And Matthew, one other thing. I believe all 4 of you participated in the Lunchgate Revenge. I think we all circulated Hamish's phone number to each other, and he's got blizzarded with texts and WhatsApp messages saying we were off out to lunch.
I did not know about this, actually.
Oh, this is news to me.
No, I did not know about that.
Well, it was organised when Silver Lady made an appearance at the Garden Railway show in Peterborough, and we blitzed Hamish. And when I saw Hamish at a steam rally afterwards, he was still laughing about it.
Fantastic. Oh, well, that's nice to know. Right, we've been nattering on for 15 minutes, and Paul, I know you've got to go at 8 o'clock, so we're going to get started now.
Episode 3.
Yeah, starting with episode 3. So if you guys are ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yep.
I'm ready.
Yep. Just waiting on Lawrence.
Pardon?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, right, everybody in the chat room, if you haven't had time to set up, tough luck. You've had 15 minutes. Here we go. Episode 3 in 3,
And
2, 1.
go.
I'm not going to lie, by about week 3, I was getting really bored of this introduction.
Oh God, I've missed this actually. Like, I've not seen it for about a year now, I think.
Oh.
I haven't watched it since it was broadcast live. Actually, this is the first time I've seen it.
Same here.
The only
Back then.
interaction I've had with it really since then was you guys probably remember I did some music videos on my YouTube channel with clips from it, but apart from the broadcast I haven't watched it properly. When making those I was literally just scrolling back and forth because I was doing from memory bits that I thought looked good, so I haven't actually watched it properly since the broadcast either.
So see, I'm going to have to catch up to you guys because I made the error of using the More 4 app
Oh
on
no.
my iPad. And as you can see, I've still got...
Oh no. Oh blimey.
Yes. So I've got it on the DVD.
Oh, God. I thought I would do the right thing. I'll get on the app. Perfect. Watch it.
Mine's been stored on my V Plus box since it was originally broadcast.
Oh, I've got the DVD still and it's framed. It sits on my wall.
Oh fab.
You should have a little hammer next to it, sort of in emergency, break glass, the biggest little railway.
Here we go. Right, what bit are you guys currently on? Because I'll catch up.
Currently we are still in the intro. We haven't got to the title card yet.
There's still the lady struggling. There's a giant walrus.
Thunder.
Oh God, there's me looking very wet.
Here we go. Right.
Jenny.
And they're just dropping the bridge in across the lock.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, you're at a different moment from me. Oh, yeah, there we go. Right, I'm a few seconds behind you, I think.
Right, I've just got her. She's gone up the spiral. Am I behind still?
You're
about
still
3-4
behind,
seconds.
yeah.
4 seconds. Ooh.
I'm just at
2
titles
minutes
now.
10 I'm at. Poor Chris, bless him.
Day 6.
Here we go.
Here we go. Here's the bridge. Day 6, 7 days to get to Inverness. God, I remember walking along that bloody pathway. God. Goodness.
Yes, they're running along those towpaths felt interminable at the time, but goodness, they were a lot easier than some of the mountainous terrain we ended up in.
When we get to Inverness, absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think
Can I
that's
just
this
say-
episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it is this episode. I think you're right. Yeah.
If it's not, it's 4, definitely.
When I started the series, I weighed 70 kilograms. Right?
Yeah.
And when I finished the series, I weighed 62.
I
Bloody
remember
hell.
we were eating enough to feed a children's birthday party
Yeah.
every day, basically. Those
Wasn't.
bars that would turn up stuffed with chocolate and crisps and sandwiches, soup, and I think they cleared out the entire co-op in at least one of the places we went through, didn't they? But yeah, I had to stick an extra hole in my belt because my trousers were falling down.
For me, it was slightly different. I started out being able to walk on my own, and for the last 3 days, I had an ambulance.
Oh God! I remember
Following
the
me just-
ambulance turning up, and oh God, was it Steve? I think said, "Oh, that'll be for Lawrence then."
Of course,
And then
we
for the last day, they actually had a production assistant shadowing me as well.
Yeah. God.
of course, poor
I
Dick.
was so
I
worried
don't
about
think he's going to
Lawrence.
make it, Captain.
Of course, poor Dick. We were talking to him about this last week. Paul, you might be able to chime in with this as well. Poor Dick actually ended up leaving the project for the last sort of 3 days because he got taken to hospital with his foot, bless him.
Yeah.
Oh
he
God,
had
here
to,
I am.
Oh yes, Invermorriston Hill being brought up now.
Yeah.
I've caught up then. Excellent.
Yes.
And that was
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, there you are, pointing at a hill. It's a big hill. We're going to climb
Yeah.
A really big hill. I'll just say they didn't need the ambulance for Lawrence. the number of times Molly and I and Colin walked up that bloody hill was outrageous.
Oh, blimey.
Oh my god!
And of
Are you
course
guys
here
just watching us go over the bridge?
Can
Yeah.
I just say, though, I don't feel your pain in the terms of having to repeat the walk up there, but it looks a lot further in the dark. It's the one thing you guys
Yeah,
had is you
I
could
can
see
imagine.
the end. You know?
Yeah.
It's true. We did do it during the daytime.
Mm.
That was a big advantage. Yeah.
We'll get to that, though.
Martin
Oh,
did live
Martin's-
in a pig.
Aw.
This is quite a sweet
I forgot
moment.
this moment.
They were sweet kids. Martin, not so much.
Oh,
He's a
praise
big
for
kid,
remembering.
bless him. Oh, dear.
It was the fact I hadn't got
I thought it was a great laugh.
all the songs from Invercali, the box that seemed to upset him.
Oh, is this? Oh, this is where they built that fantastic.
Yes, the Trestle Bridge.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the bridge, yeah.
Well, we were meanwhile struggling with.
This is the thing. They were partway done with it. Time we got to them doing our what's it called? What's name? Thingy, what's it? Counterbalance railway
Yeah, the counterbalances. Yes.
with the infinite number of turntables that we absolutely had to have 1 minute, but then no, you don't need that many turntables the next.
Indeed. Yes. Not a clear specification laid out
No.
in the project there.
But
Well-
I think this is one of Andy Christie's finest hours.
Oh, Andy Christie, what a legend!
Absolutely.
What a legend!
Lovely guy, Andy.
And in fact, actually, I'm gonna throw it out there that there's no one on that show that I remember actively disliking. I tried to talk to and speak to everyone I could. It was such a good group of people. It really was. I know there were little things going on in the background.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I genuinely loved being there with like-minded people building the railway.
It was the fact you could get up at breakfast and talk engineering with somebody who understood it, or be honest about your hobby. And that was what was special. I mean, Charlie I'd never met before. What a lovely bloke.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did chat about this last week, actually, and say that there wasn't anyone on the project who didn't have either an interest in engineering or an interest in railway. So it was just nice to be able to get together with a group of people who were like-minded, you know, with different sort of scales of knowledge, chat to them, you know, wax lyrical about everything under the sun to do with railway modelling or full-size engineering, and also learn stuff as well. I learnt so much doing this.
Yeah, same.
And the other thing was, I think Love had expected an attrition rate of about 30%. We lost one person on day one because his medication didn't arrive at the airport in his luggage. After that, and poor old Dick, we didn't lose anybody, and everybody got to the finish line.
I think we were all broken as a result, but we got there.
Yeah. It was hard going, but yeah, pretty much zero dropout, which was quite incredible given the weather and the living conditions, the food, the constant hard work.
I think certainly those last few days, I think...
The midges.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
If the Midge lived in London, somebody would have invented a cure. They live in Scotland. Nobody cares. But it is remarkable. And the other thing is we all know each other. We all still talk to each other. We meet at exhibitions.
I don't think there's... I think there may be one or two people who I haven't spoken to for a while, but certainly I think most of us... Paul, you'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong. I think most of our team has, since this, met up for lunch in London at least once, some of them twice.
Yeah. We had quite a good couple of reunions. Obviously, nothing in the last.
No, of course not.
but-
No, it's. I was saying this last week. I think the last time I saw you was probably on a day out at Dick's house with his
Yes.
double O gauge
It was
layout.
just before Christmas last year.
Yes, it was. Yes, I think we were planning to do another one sort of February, March time, and then
Yeah.
plague happened. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I brought my S stock along to play with. I seem to remember we.
yes, that is a
done
lovely
driving two
set.
trains
that.
round.
Is Dick well?
Dick is very well. Yeah, he was having a whale of a time with us last week. What he did say though was his health has got to a point now where he can't get out to his railway anymore. and he hasn't been out actually since I was last round there. I think that was beginning of February. So that's
So sad to hear.
It is. I think the thing is, he went from being quite an active, guy, for someone of his, age. No disrespect intended. He went from being quite an active bloke to, suddenly having all these mobility difficulties. And I think in part he blames these 2 weeks in Scotland. I've no idea why.
Oh, it could have been because we clattered him into a ditch.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Didn't he get having hit by a bus? That can't be good for the health.
Not brilliant, no.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Or the time when I was chatting to Paul and we agreed that there was the only place for him was to go into hospital, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, we've just come up to an ad break, so we'll give it a couple of minutes to catch up.
Ad break.
Yeah, my screen's gone black. I'm not sure what happens now on the DVD.
Pausing at these.
I've got a chap in underwear doing something very odd in front of me.
Oh dear.
Really, look.
This is the great thing. If you're watching on all four, you're all getting different adverts at this point. So
Why do I get the Andrex advert? Come on.
Because you like puppies.
who doesn't like puppies?
I do like puppies. Puppies are lovely.
At least that's a nice change from the start of the year when you didn't need to advertise toilet paper. You need to have a big sign saying "Don't buy toilet paper."
Yes, have you seen the Lego? Have you seen that picture of the Lego pandemic set where everybody's running out with the little white bits like toilet rolls flying everywhere?
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
I'll send that round. It was very funny when I got that. So what happens now? We're talking to people through the ads.
We're looking. Have a look in the chat room. Just see what people have had to say. Right. Justin says Martin's children look just like him. It was a sweet moment. And adds, trestle bridges are common here in the United States. I had the privilege of seeing the RBMN Railroad's trestle over the Lehigh, I think that is, gorge in Pennsylvania. Great engineering.
Yeah. Lovely.
Derry's in the chat room. Hello, Derry.
Oh, hello, Derry.
Lawrence, you were going to say something, I think.
What's he said?
Derry has said, I can confirm me and Lawrence were taking guesses as to who it would be while waiting. Hadrian still gets some such emails.
And feel free to keep them coming. I'm
Yes.
sure he would appreciate them. Maybe I'm off for Christmas lunch should be sent between now and the 24th.
Oh, dear.
Who else has said what?
That's about it at the moment. Martin phoned his kids every day. I was with him in the tent every night, says Derry.
That's absolutely correct. He absolutely adored his kids, and he was a truly, truly good example of a father. Also, to our friend in the States, absolutely, we didn't have many trestles in this country. I know they're a wonderful thing in the States. I believe the finest one is in a place called Goat Canyon, and I do hope to go and see that sometime.
The only trestles that I say I know for certain is the, the Stainmore line, which obviously closed some years ago, so they're no longer in situ. But you look at archive photographs, that was for some fantastic engineering.
Brunel built a few on the early days of the Great Western, and it sort of...
I've read that there were a few in Devon down that way, so...
Which had to be replaced fairly swiftly with more substantial constructions.
Yeah, they did kind of go out of style in this country, quite early on, which in some ways is a shame. But Barmouth Bridge, Derry says, yes, I think is that the last trestle bridge we've got in this country? I could be wrong.
It probably is, and there's a massive campaign of works going on at the moment to upgrade it. It is rather special. But a friend of ours, and Simon's, a lovely guy called Tim Dunn, is the expert on railway architecture. So I'll ask Tim in a minute whether he knows of any trestles still in existence.
There we go. So we're going to
get... The closest other thing that I can think of in this country would have been coal staiths, where they used those sort of effectively a long wooden trestle for unloading coal wagons into ships.
Yes, and there's some fine examples up in the Tyneside area.
Wasn't there one? There was over, Greater Anglia way at the big docks, wasn't there?
Would that be Lowestoft?
Either Lowestoft, was it Yarmouth? No, maybe not Yarmouth. I've got this memory of one. I can see it now. I can see a Great Eastern loco near it. God, where is that? Someone will tell us.
I'm sure. By the way, guys, if you're watching, if you do have any questions for any of our three guests this evening, or for me, I probably won't know the answer, but one of these guys will. Just throw them in the chat room and we'll do our best to cobble an answer together.
I've got little Big Slip Railways back on.
Excellent.
I've got this lovely diagram of how Silver Lady works.
Okay, right, guys. Do you want to just pause, Simon? I'll let you know when we catch up with you. Because I imagine is everyone back from their ad breaks if they've already got it? I'm back. You're back for definite, Simon.
This is where I'm up to.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent.
There we go.
I'll roll until I catch that point.
Okay, right. So in 3, 2, 1, and go.
And no internet.
No internet. Oh no.
Hang on. No, we got it.
All right, good.
So we got Dick and Cameron. Cameron, what a legend. Lovely
Cameron
guy.
was a great guy, lovely guy. I don't think I've seen him since the program, but what that guy does not know about engineering is not worth knowing.
I visited his house and workshop when I went to Salford, and it's an absolute steam fan's dream.
We're at the diagram now, Simon.
Excellent. Yep. Right, I'll wait for you to get to Padan. Padan? The mountain loco.
Oh, yes.
Snowdonia. Yeah, they show a shot of it. I've never seen that photo before. Well, no, I will have done when I saw it on the show, but I didn't realise how good an old photo this is. It's beautiful. You've got the driver just sat there peering out the cab, and this metal number 6 on the side. Beautiful loco. It's so unique, Snowdon Mountain Railway.
Oh, it really is.
Is it our only mountain rack railway?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
Goodness.
Well, guys, I just got to the Snowdon Railway.
Yes,
so...
yeah, we've got a video. I went there a couple of years ago, actually. We rode the railway up. We went on the diesel, sadly, which was because it was a lot cheaper. But it is a stunning place, absolutely gorgeous.
Well, they've now got the hybrids, Matthew.
Oh, have they?
They've got hybrid trains.
Ah, yeah, I've read about these. They're Silver Lady going beautifully up the hill backwards there. I must say, the gradients that a roundhouse loco can do are just astonishing. I mean, going downhill as well.
It's a ridiculous thing to get it to do, though, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I said this last week, so I won't harp on about it too much. But it was the strength of this program that meant that's why I now model in 32mm gauge, 16mm scale, because roundhouse engines are just the best thing you can possibly buy.
And it wasn't their first choice. They were originally going to do it in O gauge.
I think it was kind of a last minute change to a point in that Victorians, everybody drink.
Yeah.
I did say to my team on several occasions, do take a minute to just look at the scenery, because you won't see this again, and it is fantastic.
Stunning. I mean,
that I've got a Scottish girlfriend now, and it's very likely we're going to go back there.
Well, I keep wanting to go back because I think it was great because we got to see so much of the Great Glen Way, but we only saw bits of it for quite a long time. I would love to go back and just walk the whole route again.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it would be stunning to actually relax as well. I'm sure there's plenty of track left. I'm sure if you looked in some hedgerows, you'd find, especially all that duff track that we were delivered.
Oh gosh, yes.
That had been run over and was sent back to us.
I swear, any future sightings,
and shove it in the ground as a kind of monument to its own uselessness.
Any future sightings of Nessie, I reckon, can be attributed to bits of our track bobbing around in Loch Ness. I can guarantee it.
Oh, Paul and the midges. I mean, and the other. I think the other thing was by the second week, every member of the A team had a 32mm piece of wood in their pocket to gauge track before we laid it.
Hey, Maggie.
Hey.
Oh, bless.
There.
Lovely lady. Lovely lady.
I don't
dear.
think there was a single person. I mean, even if you weren't one of these people that, I think I was quite lucky in that
God.
I didn't taste very nice. I don't think a single person on the project didn't suffer through the midges.
They were the worst.
Oh, God.
I've never known anything like it. It was like this dark mist of insects. It was at its absolute worst by the lock. I've still, there was bites everywhere. Oh, is this the Molly Shuffle?
Yes.
This is the
It
start of the
is.
Molly Shuffle.
That's
God
me
bless her.
running! Running down the hill.
And this
Good.
was just pure genius by Molly.
Mm.
She suddenly decided that
brilliant.
gravity feeding of track would work, and it worked. And we were dropping in hill sections so much more easily.
And this is why you need a diverse group of people on something like this, because you need people who are going to think outside the box, which is why the real-world engineering and the model engineering combined so beautifully.
Oh.
And I'm very proud to say that not only is she now a mum, but she is also lecturing in engineering. She's another one that's come on in leaps and bounds since we filmed.
Yeah, Molly was brilliant. Like one of the shining lights of the A-team. Always a smile, always chatting to everyone. It was great.
And always giving me just that little bit of lip to make sure I knew my place. She was brilliant.
Oh, that much is true.
If I was going to get grief, I was going to get grief from Molly. Fully support the best of you, but definitely.
You get that much grief.
So we're having a blood transfusion now.
I don't think I got that much grief.
This is actually really clever, this. And, it's... I think that Dick's just explaining now, it is historically the way they found levels for bridge construction. Literally, you get if I understand it correctly, you get the tube, you hold it, run it over the end, and then it should sort of match up either end where it's going to be to get you a sort of level gradient. I'm not explaining this well at all, am I?
Yeah. The top of the water in either end of the tube will be identical,
Yeah.
irrespective of what the tube does between the two ends. So you just run it through the river, hold the two ends up, and you can get nice level marks.
And
Very
it
simple.
meant that they took a few poles and produced the most amazing trestle bridge with a beautiful gradient on it. And then when it had to be adjusted at the far end, it was capable of taking the adjustment as well.
I have to
And a
say...
curved gradient trestle bridge as well, which is quite a feat of engineering.
I've got to say, it's my favourite special build team construction.
Yeah.
I mean, the truss bridge is beautiful, the spiral is a work of genius, but purely for the aesthetic look of it, and it just looks real. It looks like the full-size equivalent. It is gorgeous.
It is absolutely beautiful. But the one that got me, which unfortunately the steam loco didn't run over and should have
Yes, the
done, was
viaduct.
the viaduct.
The viaduct.
The
But the
viaduct
other-
was beautiful.
But I will also say, I'll take my hat off to DeWalt's tools. They got soaked, but they always worked.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I came back and I invested in a set, and I still use them. They were brilliant.
Did
Yeah,
I hear there was a plan to have a transporter bridge somewhere that never came to fruition as
Yes. One night at camp, you may have seen Andy and a few others getting very frustrated with the steam traction engine.
Yes.
And that was going to provide the motive power for the transporter bridge, but it hadn't got enough bite to pull the skin off a rice pudding, and that basically put the argument in. Now, I've had a running row with Claire Barrett. I don't believe there was ever a transporter bridge that carried trains, and I'll be delighted if anybody can prove me wrong.
I've never heard of one, because the whole point of a train is it's long, and the point of a transporter bridge is it's rather short for the bit that actually goes back and forth.
I go with Paul on this. It sounds unlikely.
There were funicular railways that carried trams in the United States, and
And in
indeed.
Portugal, I believe.
I hadn't heard of that. So I suppose the closest you might get is maybe a transporter bridge with trams on, but I'm sure none with mainline trains.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's more an urban thing.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, of course, somebody's playing Daddy, God bless him.
Can I just say, I have Googled this, and incredibly, the only surviving railway transporter bridge in the world is in Warrington. It's also known as the Bank Quay Transporter Bridge or Crossfields Transporter Bridge. It's across the River Mersey.
Okay.
Right? And it was for carrying railway vehicles.
Well, I never.
There we
it's
are then.
extraordinary to look at as well. I'm
Right.
absolutely astonished. And it's the only one in the world, it says.
Have you got a
Well,
link
Claire's
for that,
not on the
Simon? I'll
stream
chuck it in the
tonight. I'll
chat.
apologise to her.
Anyone fancy a field trip to Warrington when we're allowed out then?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Oh, God.
Is this you walking now, Lawrence?
Yes.
Waddling would be a better description.
Waddle, waddle. And then he waddled away. Waddle, waddle. He didn't waddle. Didn't waddle. You walked with purpose. Oh, Lawrence.
Aww.
I forgot about this bit. Well, you did an amazing job,
Oh, it's my
Oh, yes.
party. Time for the Pikachu costume.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. I have to say, the disco was brilliant.
I love your cat, Lawrence.
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. We
Oh,
lost him
I'm
to
sorry to hear
cancer.
that.
Lynx loved my wife like crazy, and we've got the most wonderful picture of him actually watching himself on TV and looking utterly bemused.
Oh,
I'll
bless
circulate
him. Oh.
Oh, my God. It's got a really cool waistcoat. Love it. Oh, Jill. I miss Jill. Oh, with her singing. Brilliant. Oh, Lord.
Oh, blimey, yep, there's the Pikachu costume.
Have we got the track luge featured?
I think it.
No,
Yes, it does
it's-
feature. Yeah.
Ah, the Navis were
That's the-
drunk scenario. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, when you think
Oh,
about
there's the luge.
There we go.
Ah, there we
There we
go.
go.
Lord.
Oh, is this scene going to come up next then, where we all beat each other with pickaxe handles?
No, that was episode 4. I distinctly remember it.
It got close in episode 5 when I was getting the abuse out of the block of flats.
Oh, God, yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
I
That
think
was a strange moment. We're building this tiny little model railway line. They're like screaming out the windows at us. What are you doing here? Go away. We're like, hello. Okay, bye. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
Oh,
I do enjoy the fact they talk about the monstrous Navi and then immediately cut to a picture of Markin in his Pikachu costume.
So can I just say, obviously, I worked with Jenny on the Great Model Railway Challenge. Right?
Yes.
Which actually, fantastic show. Loved being on it. Jen and I, we get on like a house on fire. We're still friends now. We message almost every day on our little team group. She got an awful lot of stick in like behind the scenes, which really, wasn't
No.
deserved.
By the
Happily
way,
wasn't
guys,
really
if you're not
shown on.
watching on More 4, we have come to an ad break. So if
yeah, I'm at the ads now.
okay, yeah, is that everyone's sorry, Simon, do continue.
More buttocks again. Yeah,
tailored based on your browsing choices. It's
is it really?
random.
Is it really?
I've got the original ads. Anybody else talking to us in the chat room?
There's a few things that have come up since then. Let's have a look.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, I believe there was some small trestle bridges over the old Wisbeck and Upwell line in East Anglia over the Fenlands. I think that does ring a bell, actually.
Yeah.
Derry, I spent 200 miles with Cameron on the train there, pretending neither of us were going to BLR. Okay, fair enough. What else? First mountain railway in the world was the Cog Railway. It's about 2.5 hours away from me. After lockdown, I'm definitely going.
I
Excellent.
think that's in Washington State, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so. Derry says there was a big clean-up campaign in 2018. There's not much of our track there anymore. So, I'd love to know...
That's good, actually. That's good.
That is good, yeah, I did. I genuinely was worried about that.
I thought
Yeah.
a lot of it was in Martin's garage.
Martin did go away with a stack of it because I don't know what happened with this. He was going to do a project where he borrowed Silver Lady from Roundhouse, and Roundhouse were well up for this. He was going to climb Ben Nevis, build a circle of track at the top, and spend a day there doing that to raise money for charity. And I think a few of the biggest little railway people were well up for going and doing that.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. You know, even up.
And
Yeah.
I was devastated because I was still working with some friends in the RAF to see how we could drop an entire disco out of the back of a helicopter at the
Fantastic.
top and actually be waiting for you with music. And we were playing this, and it would have been rather special if it had worked.
Something about midges here. Weirdly, Justin, midges on the water is fairly rare. They start on the water and move out. Oh, right, sorry. Are we sure that the site of Nessie in history wasn't just massive swarms of midges clinging to driftwood floating over the lock? Okay, yeah, that makes more sense looking at it in the right order. Right. I think the track was better for transporting ale from the bottle to the mouth than it was Silver Lady. Yeah. Will Jarman's checked in. Hello, Will.
Hello, Will.
And apparently Martin took a container of unused track with him.
I
And
believe that.
yeah, and the plan for Nevis is still on the agenda. So, yeah, have to keep an ear out about that.
Oh, we will do. Right, we're back on.
Okay, my ad is still playing, so if you can hang fire, Simon.
Yeah.
We'll
I'm at
give
the
everyone a
whole-
couple of minutes.
I will say we learned about the useful drainage nature of the track very early on, because
Yes.
whenever it rained, it would come avalanching down the slope in the track itself. The same happened on one occasion where we looked and the colour was slightly different, and there was a dog at the top of the hill.
Ah. I think my favourite memory of the track was walking along. It was about day 4 or 5. We were up in the mountains by this point on the forest tracks, and we were walking back to the bus for the day, and there were just these. There was this trail of ants that had come across the track, and we're using it as like a walking route up along in the middle. And then they met another train of ants coming the other way, and they were engaged when we walked past them in a massive two-nest punch-up in the middle of our track. So I think we've irreparably damaged the insect ecosystem of Scotland with this project.
I do remember seeing some mice making use of it as a handy way to.
I never saw that. This is quite interesting, isn't it? Because we always say that when you build railways, they effectively become these wonderful wildlife corridors, and this is the argument you see used about HS2 a lot. They are fantastic for it because, you know, after many years, you see it on the railway now, trees spring up and they create these wonderful new environments, which compared to building, say, masses and masses of roads along the same distance, animals can safely cross because bigger gaps between vehicles.
Most of the time, there isn't a train there.
Yeah, so actually, it does help spread wildlife about the country, and you do find there is a connection between nature reserves and railways. They tend to sort of spring up alongside them.
I mean, I should say one of the London Underground depots does have a very large fridge in which we keep all the things that have been hit by trains.
Oh, no.
Safely disposed of.
Yeah.
Animals do need to learn to look both ways before crossing.
That's Darwin's theory of evolution in action there.
It's not just animals either, but plants. It's been discovered that various plant species have been distributed because of the train going past drags them along the track. There are definitely several plant species that become nationwide by travelling along tracks.
Okay, guys, if we're ready, are we all ready to go again?
Ready to go.
Ready
Okay,
to go.
so in 3, 2, 1. I think, yeah, this is poor Chris taking Silver Lady to pieces.
I mean, that was the most amazing effort that he put in to keep Silver Lady.
The man
I
is
think
a
without
legend.
Chris would have been in deep trouble.
Because at one point they weren't going to send a rep up, and the story I've been told is that that the thing that triggered them sending someone with the engine rather than just giving us the engine and instruction manual and leaving us to it was they found out about the canal boat section, and suddenly became tremendously worried about the whole affair. So, I don't know how true that story is, but it's, yeah, I'm very grateful we got Chris.
I mean,
Lovely
certainly
bloke.
It was his efforts that made it a triumph for roundhouse locomotives rather than a bit of a damp squib.
Yes, absolutely. I think if we hadn't had him, the project would have been dead in the water, literally, by the end of day one. So
I hope he got a healthy bonus from his
Yes.
employers for his work there.
no way, Lawrence. Effort on this project? You surprise me.
He's got a whistled when we all
Yep.
need to get out the trenches.
And Martin in his post-party state. But he got bleeped.
You got what?
He uttered a word that was bleeped.
Oh, yes, right.
Oh, I thought you were just saying, he got completely and utterly bleeped.
I do enjoy Dick very simplistically explaining how a train works there. Water goes in there.
And trust me, with Steve, if you kept it simple, it worked best.
Fair enough.
Didn't you have the honour of driving her through the tunnel, Simon?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that.
I think we get
Really pleased with
we
that. It
talk
was a
about
lovely
that at the end of this episode. You actually see us going through the tunnel, if I'm remembering correctly.
Was it this episode or the next one? I think it might be the next
It's
one.
either the end of this one or the beginning of the next one.
Yeah. It's interesting the railway never got beyond Fort Augustus. At this point, we really were into virgin territory.
This
Yeah.
was still actually using one of the collapsible water bottles. I didn't think they lasted beyond day one.
I know. I think mine went missing about day 3.
The one thing I will say is we never ran out of water.
No, I
No.
will say that for the production team, they did keep us very well sort of supplied with liquid. I think we did. It got a bit patchy up in the hills with the food side of things, but we were always kept with water and tea.
Yeah.
So you know,
that
and
was always such a welcome sight, seeing the van full of, or car full of sandwiches and soup and so on.
What you don't know is the A-team hijacked it because it was a 4x4 and we used it to get track up Inverness Hill, and the girl was well up for it, wasn't she, Simon? And we actually got 3 trackloads of track moved before she went on with the lunch run.
So
Oh,
that's
really?
why
Better than
lunch
that.
was late
We-
that day.
We used the estate car as a track laying vehicle. We had it driving along with a load of track in the back, taking pieces out one at a time, putting them down. We just took it completely from its lunch distribution duties. Managed to save us quite a few hours there.
But there's only one decent road through that area. To put all those people, all that track, all that kit, plus constantly moving the tents on one notoriously bad road was quite remarkable.
So we've got another bridge coming onto the water.
And a happy Hadrian.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a
Happy
rarity.
Hadrian.
I think I just saw you in the background there, Matt, as well.
Possibly, because I think this was Hadrian actually asked me to do something quite mean to the special build team. I can't remember exactly what it was he wanted me to say. I think it was something, as you go along, can you just say to them, I think there's a bit of a slope on that, guys? Something like that, which was just very mean, I felt.
It was an interesting film, wasn't it? Like that few days where we did Inverness Hill, where they had the trestle being built. You look at what all the teams were doing, like where they were. All I remember from that set of days was rain. Just constant rain.
And also, we were up in the pine woods where the radio signal was absolutely rubbish. I know that Bruce told me about this, and you could almost shout further than the walkie-talkies would work, and there was no signal for your mobile.
Yeah, I think when you got to patches of the forest where you sort of came out of the tree line and looked out over the loch, you would have fantastic mobile signal. I mean, I think only sort of in the forest itself did I have a poor mobile signal, but then I am on EE, and they're notoriously good up there.
Well, the security teams had some sort of magic radios that always seemed to infallibly work.
They were on digital. They were on a digital circuit. But the other thing is, this is when they missed probably the best clip ever. I'd gone ahead to check the route and was leaning up against a marker post when the marker post snapped. It went backwards. I went backwards with it with my backpack on, and I was like a turtle upside down. And it took me about 2 minutes to get up, but there was no cameraman around, so it was never captured. That would have been a hysterical footage.
I want to talk about toilets. Now, this may seem strange, so bear with me, viewers. The toilet situation was a funny one, wasn't it? They kept dropping off portaloos along the construction route, didn't they?
They did.
I remember very vividly one of our days, again up in the forests. There was a bit of the route where it kind of went round a bend, and there was like a sheer drop on the side of the road, and whoever it was depositing the portaloos had dropped it off literally on the edge of this sheer drop, and I remember being caught short and having to run back to go and use that toilet, stepping in it, and then just feeling it wobble. and just thinking, no thank you, and opting for the bushes on the other side of the path. It was terrifying.
Yes. A little bit unstable.
But the other thing for me was the fact that, and Paul will go along with this, we were permanently radio mic'd. So every time we went to the loo,
everyone could hear it. Yeah. Now, I was lucky in that regard. I never got a radio mic put on me. Clearly, I wasn't very interesting, but I'm quite grateful for that, actually.
And also, they came with a decent length of cable, and they would make sure the pack was supported. They would make sure the mic was supported, but all the cable in the middle was loose. And of course, you go to the loo and then you're trying to get everything done, and there's bits of cable going everywhere. It was really quite unnerving. This was a special moment. It's Katie's grandfather, God bless him.
I love the fact that they have that footage of the Fort William to Mallaig line, which is flipped several times. It carries a lot of the weight of the Invergarry and Fort Augustus Railway sections. Because I don't think I've trawled the internet looking for these. There's not many pictures or anything of the railway in that area.
No,
certainly no video.
Well, I don't know about anybody else, but we stopped at the Commando Monument, didn't we, Simon?
We did, yeah. We did stop and had a quiet moment. Yeah. God, this was yeah.
I remember we were talking last week about the planes we saw doing manoeuvres in the area as well. That whole area in the Highlands of Scotland, it's just steeped in military history, isn't it? I mean, I hesitate to talk about, sort of going as far back as the Jacobite rebellions and what have you, and some of the horrendous war crimes committed by the British Army at that time. But in more recent history, certainly, its use as for military training purposes, and still today, it's testament really to the fact that we've got this wonderful, beautiful, but totally inhospitable in some places environment that is perfect for training soldiers.
And for the RAF.
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe that we were stood up there and I could see one of those massive A400 transporter planes below me. But the best day, and Simon will remember this, we were down by the locks putting track in, and I looked to the south and I said, look, 2 typhoons, and they came thundering up. Phil managed to get it, but I managed to wave to the sound man just in time for him to close his faders. Because as they went past, the noise was unbelievable. I
Yeah.
think he'd have lost his ears for the next 2 hours. But again, it was very special. And I'm a massive fan of the RAF and the work they do. To see them up close outside an air show was special.
Absolutely, and I think that we saw the same plane. That I can't remember which bit we were on, Paul. It was that day when we were on the quite nice road section, going along the edge of the loch, and then through that little village, and then we went over a bridge. But I remember vividly seeing that plane coming very low over the water's surface, and just thinking, "Wow, that's incredible."
I remember it being quite a spectacular sight. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Watching it flying over the loch. Oh, you're getting like a drowned rat there, Lawrence?
Yeah. Oh, Les. This was the shot they've just shown of, I think it's Andy and Pip carrying track. That's actually was about day 2, wasn't it, Paul? When we built down that horrible gradient.
Yes, when we were having to go down endless corners when we hadn't really got to grips with how to build a corner yet, because we were still trying to do it the way we'd been told rather than the way that worked.
And there was that fantastic shot from episode 1, wasn't there, of Mark's test wagon flying down that gradient.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a fun day, but it was also a tough day.
In the sogging wet, bless her.
Here comes the drone. That was always a strange moment when you were sort of busy getting on with laying trap, and then
Yeah.
You look up and there's the surveillance drone flying overhead.
It did become a
there's
running
good old
joke
Steve.
between me and Dick about, like, oh wow, that's a big midge. This was the 3rd campsite, I believe, wasn't it?
This is the map showing we're in deep doo-doo when we first start working overnight.
Yes. I've got pictures of this on my phone, I think, Paul, of you poring over this map with a couple of other people.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really have access to any maps. Did
No,
we? It
so
was
we
all
weren't...
blind.
Yeah,
So
we weren't really getting a picture of where the railway was going, so it was quite nice to have it all sort of laid out beautifully like that.
It was a bit of internal industrial espionage. We went and studied that map quite extensively.
And I think it was a series of photos I took of this map kind of late in the evening after I think, Paul, you were with me on this. I used pictures from this map surreptitiously taken late at night to actually make the Google Maps thing of the route that's on the Biggest Little
Next
Railway
ads.
wiki page. Oh, yeah, ad break.
Yeah, I assume this is the last ad break.
It
isn't
is, yes.
Wow, we're flying through.
We will be, yes. So
Well, I think at some point, didn't I send you off to the local shop to purchase some maps and guidebooks? So we could
yeah,
have
and
an idea of where
I
we
came
were?
back with something, I forget. It wasn't very detailed what we ended up with, but I did.
No.
Yeah, it was all they had. So, you know, it gave us a rough idea. Because I think there was a point, I think, about 3 days in where we said, right, we're fed up of being told to go to the marker point.
Yes.
And Paul, you said, give us map coordinates.
Yeah.
Because we were fed up of being driven around Scotland by bus drivers who had no idea where they were going.
Absolutely. And once
Yeah.
we started getting the coordinates, it was a much easier job because we could use the
Absolutely.
coordinate to guide the bus driver to where we were going, and then to see which direction we were supposed to be going, because we knew whether the end coordinate was east or west or.
I think, was
Yeah.
it day
and that
two?
was once things started flowing a lot more smoothly.
Yeah, was it day 2? We ended up literally driving around for about 2 hours before we got a bit of track down, trying to find the start
I
point.
think.
It
a couple
just
of
got
days in.
ridiculous.
We got taken to completely the wrong start point at one point.
Yes.
Had to get back in, move around. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was just getting daft those first few days, but yeah, once the coordinates thing came into play, that did sort things out very, very quickly.
And that was the more control and information they gave us, and the more they let us, take charge of what we were doing, and rather than spoon feeding us, the better it went, I think.
Quite right too. Right, so
And it's funny, like what you were saying about the toilets with,
Yeah,
they
I'm just
had
trying to
those.
remember the name of that campsite because that was by Eckhart Castle, wasn't it?
yes, it was. Right, some things in the chat room from last time. Here we are. I've got some pictures of slugs using the track as a motorway, says Will. There's some interesting stories about the deer on the military firing ranges with target trains. They would follow the track around between safe places in the range and would avoid the tank fire that way, says Derry. Two-Faced Tart Productions, hell of a name. My favourite thing about this series is how it taught me the term anorak, which was supposedly a common term for purists, and the show was literally the first time I'd heard it.
I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, me too. Team B used the estate car for a fair bit one day too, says Will. Me and Will, I think on our second day, and Sonwet got a lift in Dick's vehicle, said Derry. Our protection team would have competitions to lift the Portaloos with one of our runners inside. Good lord. Will, did the show not end up competing with Glastonbury for Portaloos? We were talking about Glastonbury last week. We were talking about the quad bikes, and that the reason
it was the quad bikes.
Yeah.
They wanted to get extra ones, but unfortunately Glastonbury booked a lot. I didn't understand that it was also an issue with the Portaloos.
I got told off for cheating with my BW keys, says Derry. Oh, British Waterways keys. Yes, I remember using my British Waterways key to use the Canal Provisional ones. That's amazing. It's always handy to have people on the inside. Okay, I am back from my ad break. I don't know.
Yep, I'm at the.
Ready to start when you say go.
Okay, Simon?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, everyone should be back from the break now. If you're not, I apologise, but I need to let Paul go, so we'll wrap this up quite quickly. Here we go, playing in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the progress with the train up until this point have been horrendously slow.
Yes.
I think it was
we
just...
didn't really know this.
No, I think the first I learnt about this was, weirdly enough, you're going to see at the end of the episode, when I was with... and Simon, I think you were with me on this one, weren't you? When I went out with the train team. And it was actually the day after that they decided that rather than sort of rotating people round and having to train them all on use of the engine every day, it would be quicker to have a rotating set of 2 teams, one doing the morning and afternoon stint and one doing the evening into the night shift, which I somehow ended up on despite being, I don't know, possibly the least qualified person for the job. But
we all didn't have that much experience with it, did we?
I think the morning team with Andy and Cameron probably had the most experience of anything railway related, and I know Andy has roundhouse trains on his garden railway, which I believe he's had to pull up because he's moved house and is now in the process of building a new one.
No, we're all being invited to help.
Oh right, okay, we're all going to go and build one. You'd struggle to find anyone more qualified to build a garden railway amongst us lot, that's for sure.
Where does he live?
He's somewhere in the Milton Keynes area.
Oh, is he?
Well,
Sorry, I apologise. No, sorry, Telford Way. Apologies.
Telford Way. I was going to say...
a little bit further.
I didn't think he was near me. Here we are. This is us being given a handover.
And the infamous hockey sticks.
Yes. Fantastic. These, for the people at home, I can't remember who came up with them, but basically we were, and you can see me dragging mine along there, we were using it to stabilise the track ahead of the locomotive, and where there were like sort of big undulations in the track, we'd literally get the bracket under them and hold the track steady as much as possible, so the train didn't fall off quite so much, and they worked brilliantly. We did start eating up the miles when they came into play.
And the interesting point about those was that they were made from broom handles and shelf brackets, but Dick had to go a 50-mile round trip to find a hardware store that had them.
Yeah, no, there's not exactly a local B&Q in Fort Augustus or Abercalder, so it's, yeah, you had to go a long way. I imagine anything would either be in Fort William or Inverness.
I think he went to Inverness, but I'm not completely sure.
And there it is, the finished bridge.
23 metres.
Absolutely
40
stunning.
foot in English.
Amazing stuff.
Of course it will.
Yeah, but God bless Andy, he's brought out a test logo.
Yes.
God, look at that.
Hey.
That really is stunning.
That is also a
Here
roundhouse
we are,
model.
yep, James.
They really ramped up the emotional segments in sort of episodes 3 and 4, didn't they? You didn't see so many of them in the first two.
They did, but it was none of it false.
No,
People had
no,
stories.
It's quite lovely, actually. I don't think there were some really emotional moments in the series, and I think this is testament to the guys who were volunteering, but to the production team to a point as well. Nothing was faked.
I think the minute for me was Cameron and the Piper.
Yeah, that was near the beginning of episode 2, wasn't it? That was, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't aware when I asked for that tune, and I felt slightly dreadful about it, but he was fine.
Oh, bless him.
It was special to all of us.
It was a really touching moment in the show as well.
Yeah.
I remember
And it
people
was pure
commenting on it
fluke.
on Twitter. Yeah. And actually, I think some of the best moments that actually made it into the programme, for all of the talk near the beginning of, oh, they're going to throw artificial challenges at us, there's plants in the teams. You didn't need any of that. The drama and the emotion all just came out perfectly naturally.
I'm still embarrassed by this section.
Oh, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's Colin.
Is this still Invermoriston Hill then?
Yes, on the
Yeah.
way down.
God.
Oh, okay. So this is going down the other side, having come up
It
that
took
big
so
road.
long. Crazy.
Simon, I love you.
What I can't get my head round is just how much track we laid.
It's mind-boggling, really. And I mean, I know I probably shouldn't say this because it kind of ruins the magic, but I know at one point they were literally having to pick up track from the start and deliver it to us at the railhead, sort of heading towards Inverness. But there was certainly, I believe, enough track that you could have done the whole lot. The only reason that happened was because it kept being broken by vehicles driving over it and the like.
Yeah. They had over 43,000 sections of track.
Which is incredible when you look at it. And it's quite sad in a way that the vast majority of it has gone straight in a shredder. 'Cause I think,
No, I love this bit.
oh, marvellous moment, this.
That's stunning.
Again, one of the moments that I knew I had to have when I did my video to 500 miles. It was just such a lovely thing seeing you guys with your track and then out into the scenery. Stunning shot, that.
No, we were very proud of that shot.
Yes, now, I was with the train at this point, so I can say we got there, we saw the bridge, and the first thing we thought was, we better give the loco a service before it goes on there, because the last thing we want is it running out of steam halfway along. That shot of us crossing the road actually happened an hour later. Just to
Yes, it
completely
did,
ruin the
because-
magic.
God. I was there
on that-
as well for that. That was, the amount of... Actually, no, we were all there, weren't we, Lawrence? Because we'd just done the road crossing.
But you were involved in building that beautiful curve as well, weren't you, Simon? The curve
That's
that led
right,
up to the
yeah.
road.
Well, I think it
12
was more...
metres of complete...
It was Bruce's work, actually. Bruce and Robert Crawford.
Now, if you saw that shot of Claire, there was a barge behind her. That barge is a pub. Who borrowed the trolley from the pub to collect the track? I think that was Cameron.
Ouch!
I remember when we were in the middle of laying track on a fairly isolated bit of hillside in total downpour. I did see a cottage which had some rather appealing looking sort of forestry machinery parked outside it, and was quite tempted to go knock on the door and say, do you think we could borrow that kind of tracked dumper truck thing you've got sitting there to lug some of our track around for the afternoon? But thought we probably wouldn't get a
No, I think that...
appreciative answer.
Yeah. Mind you, it was incredible. Again, talked about this briefly last week. It was incredible how many people were actually just sort of living in the area, or, you know, tourists in the area, were interested in the project and, you know, actually really sort of fascinated by it, but also would do all these lovely little things for us. You know, like you were saying, you know, Lawrence, you know, lending of little trolleys and things like that. You know, I think it's it was really.
I got into trouble on one occasion, which I think is around about episode 4.
Oh no!
It was a really, really wet day, and our security boys found us a school that we were chatting to, which was being used to actually rehabilitate kids who dropped out of school. And they actually allowed us to use a classroom with a roaring log fire to have our lunch in. And they thought Dick was a god because it was through engineering and through local crafts that they were getting the kids to re-engage and then go back into mainstream school. And the work that school were doing were utterly brilliant.
Fantastic. Here we are.
And believe it or not, it was funded by burning the local wood and producing electricity.
Fabulous. Here we are. You can see my worried expression here. We were genuinely terrified that it was either going to derail somewhere in the middle or run out of steam. Because we'd been with it for about 10 minutes by this point. We didn't know its sort of quirks and foibles yet. So I say it. Her, of course. Her.
Did you have any idea for a contingency plan if it did jump off the tracks halfway?
No. Isn't the simple answer. We had none.
And the interesting thing is, if you look very closely, that bridge makes a cameo appearance again in episode 5.
Does it? I'll have to look for that.
It's the top of the spiral.
Yes, of course it is. I'd forgotten that.
Oh, recycled. Very clever.
It was recycled as the top of the spiral. And I only discovered that from talking to somebody a long way after the show aired.
Yeah. This was just the best evening. I think, Simon, you'll back me up on this. We had such fun doing this.
I'll tell you what, from my point of view, there are a number of little moments in my life which...
And here's the tunnel.
Yeah, which really are wonderful. This is one of them. It was really beautiful.
There was what was marvellous about these shots you're seeing here of us at night, we were given an option. There's a section, I can't remember how long it was. It was, oh gosh, I flinched seeing that.
There we are going through the tunnel.
There's...
Oh god, more flinching as she comes off the track. Jesus.
Blimey, that was fast.
Ooh, right. Yeah, anyway, we were given the option. There was a section where we left the road and followed the old railway track bed all the way up to Abershelde, and we were given the option, right, you can stop here, or if you go now, you will not see us until you get to the other end. There is no road access. And I think unanimously we all just went, yep, we're up for it, and off we went.
I'll tell you what, that night run was wonderful.
That was it's a special memory for me. It's one of the best, the highlights of the whole thing for me that night. Really good fun.
We laid the track the same day. We put it along. It was along the path of an old railway. We then ran a train through it at night. It had a light on it. It looked magnificent. We were absolutely shattered at the end. But my God, you know, how many people can say that? We put the railway back.
I know. And it was wonderful. Honestly marvellous. Right, that is the end of episode 3, ladies and gentlemen. Paul, I believe we have to let you go now. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been incredible. Thank you, Matt.
And I believe if you're still up for it, you're going to be with us next week as well.
I very much hope so.
Okay, well, we'll keep in touch on that. But if we don't see you, thank you so much. It's been great fun. And if we do, I'll see you next week.
Wonderful. I shall look forward to it and hopefully see Lawrence and Simon at some point when we can have a reunion again in the future.
Let's hope it's not too long.
It'll be good to see you.
Merry Christmas, Paul. Look after yourself.
Merry Christmas.
Marvellous. Fantastic. Happy Christmas and see you all again soon.
Cheerio, mate.
Take care.
Right, and for the rest of us, I don't know about you guys, but I would quite like the loo. So I think if we have, say, a 5-minute break and come back at 8:25 UK time, for those of you abroad, so about 7 minutes time, and we'll resume with episode number 4, which is all very exciting, and it does get a bit dramatic in this episode, if I recall correctly.
It does.
Indeed.
Oh,
right.
yes.
So,
see you in a little bit.
we will see you in a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I'm a little bit early, I realise, so I'm not sure if my guests are back or not. I believe Lawrence is there.
Yes, what have we seen in the chat room?
Yes, let's have a quick look-see, because we haven't done that since the last ad break. So, here we go. Let's see. The Piper had a few locations. We had fun with him in Drumner Drocket, says Will. But there was little to no emotional relevance to the Team B story, so it does not get shown. That's true. Justin says, Lawrence, I have no idea why you would have trouble making friends. You seem like such a good leader and a compassionate man. Lots of respect.
Thank you, Justin.
That's really lovely.
Yes, I'm quite touched by that, and it's appreciated, Justin. If you're in the UK, I hope we'll meet at an exhibition. If we're not, look me up on Twitter. We'll have a chat.
Yeah, incidentally, go and follow Lawrence and Simon on Twitter. Lawrence's handle is, I believe, Lawrence of the, or one word. And Simon is Copley Hill on Twitter. So, yeah, do check them out for anything, all things railway related. And Simon does, I don't know if Simon's here, but if he's not, I hope he won't mind me saying this. Simon does get into some spats on Twitter a lot about HS2, which are very entertaining because he actually knows what he's talking about. So
yes, which makes one normally in those conversations. It is quite terrifying what people think HS2 will and won't do to the environment.
Honestly, it's so daft. It really is.
And yet we'll blithely support the Lower Thames crossing, which is going to do far more damage in a few miles, and HS2 will do over its entire track.
Absolutely, and it's like I was saying earlier about wildlife corridors. You know, yes, people are saying, yes, you're going to have to take out this many trees, and yes, of course, any tree you cut down is sad, and any damage you do to nature is a sad thing. But
I wanted to get away from the hate.
Sorry, mate.
Can I just say, just throwing it out there, right? Because I think it's a really big point, okay? Whether you agree with the HS2 project or not, the absolute bottom line for achieving net zero and decarbonisation of our transport structures is that things have to move by electric railway.
Yes.
That's long distance.
I'm
You
completely
need
in
to get
agreement
rid
there.
of London to Scotland by plane.
Yeah.
And London to Birmingham by plane, and London to anywhere else in the country by plane. You need high-speed rail to cover all of those routes that are by electric railway, okay?
Quite right too. 100% agree.
It's a madness.
Yeah.
It's absolute madness, some of the batshit crazy stuff that the Green Party at the moment is putting out there. No, but they're meant to be...
No, you're right. I'm in agreement.
Science and engineering, and it just isn't. It isn't.
I do find your...
over.
Yeah, I do find your Twitter spats very entertaining, but...
It's just,
and as for Mr. Chris
Mm.
Packham, sponsored by Land Rover, I just don't know where he gets off with some of his comments.
I got nothing. Chris Packham just... I mean, he's being investigated for certain things that he's been involved with, particularly with the relocation of some tigers, interestingly, and some fundraising that was raised for that. I would like people to investigate the fact that he's had 2 failed court cases on the subject of HS2, where the judge literally threw it out and said, you have no case. There is no case to answer for here. He's raised an inordinate amount of money from people who look at the headline, which is HS2 is destroying the environment. It isn't. I've got an app here that shows it, like literally, HS2 route map right here. It gives you every single bit of woodland, you know. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Right, rant over.
Anyway, yes.
And that puts Chris Packham firmly up there with Donald Trump in losing completely unmerited court cases.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've gone off at a bit of a tangent here, haven't we?
Let's get back on topic.
Okay.
I've actually got this set up so it goes straight in. So
Yeah, me too. So, Lawrence, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to roll.
Okay, I believe it's been 2 minutes since 25 past, so everyone in the chat room should be ready as well. If you are not, I apologise. You can scroll back, so it's all good. Right, okay.
Here we go.
If we are ready,
2,
1, go.
Right, so we've got the intro again.
Yes, another swig for the word Victorian.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Put my backup headphones on, because I can't hear the programme without these.
Oh.
That train whistle sound effect gets so much traction in this show. You hear it. I think at least 5 times an episode.
Yeah, easily. Doesn't she look pretty going through the woods, though?
Oh,
every
she
time?
does.
I'm a moment or two behind you then.
Victorian, swig.
Yeah, I've just got to the bit where Silver Lady's going through the woods.
So I'm a little bit ahead of you.
Well,
It's only by a
with
few
you.
seconds. I don't think it'll make a lot of difference.
Righto. So I've just seen Lawrence. Now it's Charlie.
I do like Dick's sort of heavy lifting there. I've set myself the challenge of achieving in miniature. I think this was a team effort, Dick, if you don't mind me saying so.
God, look at that viaduct and the trestle bridge. Goodness. There's you, Matthew. And rain. Lots and lots.
All of the rain. Oh,
We're just
yes, our
describing things
counterbalance railway's being featured to this one as well. Not that we actually finished the damn thing, but never mind. That's a story for another time. Yeah, me being attacked by
my
midges.
goodness. Is this... We're going to have the tunnel bit first, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we open on that.
It's going to be lovely. Absolutely lovely.
No, Lagan was where it went in the water, Dick, not here.
Here we go.
Sorry, wordplay.
No, that was Neptune's staircase, wasn't it? Not Lagan.
Oh, yes. You're quite right, sorry.
I think Lagan was the bridge.
Yes,
Here
you're
we go.
right.
Right, day
Yes,
8.
sorry. It didn't even work
3.5
then.
days.
I'm
We
at the
worked
title.
so hard on this bit. We were so tired, weren't we, Matt?
Oh, yes. Absolutely shattered. But it was worth it, because I think we said... It was about 7 o'clock. We got to the bit where we came off the road and onto the track bed where there was no road access until Eberschelde. But it was... I don't think one of us said, no, do you know what? We were so up for finishing. And
I'll tell you what, though, I'll admit this to you. I was bloody grumpy when I got in the van. My contact lenses were so dry.
Oh,
I
bless
felt
you, mate.
Horrendous.
That's
And
one
that
of
was
Team
what,
C's
12-hour
curves
shift we
there.
did?
Yeah,
You
we must have
you
done
were
by
out
then.
all night, and we got
Yeah.
the word that you wouldn't be about and to leave you in peace, which was absolutely realistic and
I think...
entirely fair.
I think... I don't know about you, Simon, but I would have quite happily carried on from this point. The only thing that stopped us was the fact they had to close the road to get to the next bit. I mean, I could have gone all
I'm gonna
night.
be brutally honest, I was spent.
Yeah.
I was
think
spent
it,
to that. I'd done the whole day doing track, and then we got on to
yeah.
driving the train, and it was tiring. When we got up the next day and we were going for it, the loco looked battered. Everyone who was on that shift looked tired and battered. But everyone kept going, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of... That was one of the wonderful things. There was always someone in the group to pick you up. Every time.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
And also, it didn't matter what little bit of expertise we needed. Somewhere in those 56 people was somebody who knew what they were doing. There might have been the other 55 who hadn't got a clue, but we had.
We
coverage.
made it up. That's the thing.
Then
This...
again,
I think they nearly had a rebellion on their hands with what comes up next. It's... Yeah. Steam could have done the whole journey if... With gaps,
Should have done. I
It
think
should
it
have
was
done.
ridiculous that they didn't, because the battery loco actually didn't have the weight for getting over the track bits.
No. I mean, I will say, having done a night with the electric loco, it was my last night with the train team, and I was gutted. But it was, it did help eat up the miles, because you weren't stopping every 15 minutes to service it. But it just wasn't as enjoyable, and it was just a bit... You didn't feel like you were nursing this little thing along the track. I mean, literally at one point, you've just seen the remote there. It's like a little remote control car thing. You literally turn a wheel and hold it there. Most of the time when we were driving it, we literally just held the thing, had it by our side, and were just holding it in position. We had no interaction with it at all. It was literally just a walk at this point. So, yeah, I have bad feelings about the...
This is in Vermoriston, isn't it?
No, this is Inchnacardock we're in at the moment.
My little further ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, 175 metre ascent.
Yeah. Oh, yes,
That
we're
was
just getting
beautiful.
to that now, yes.
It was absolutely beautiful, the whole trip, everything that we saw, the people we saw. Just like the locals were so wonderful in their support of it. You know, you look at. I still can't quite believe we did this. It is the maddest thing.
It's
going.
surreal, and I think every time I think about this, it's the weirdest thing.
I think it was this day that I was talking to Jill, who works for Network Rail, and a couple of the other engineers, and I was saying to them, you know, I was made redundant this year. I'm in finance. I've always loved railways. I've got interest in engineering. And they were saying, well, go on, Simon. What are you doing? You know, why are you not on the railway? Go have a go. See what jobs are out there.
Yeah. And
So
to your
after-
credit, Simon, you walked out of the financial services industry, became the oldest Network Rail apprentice by miles, but you stuck at it, and I'm so proud of you because you're now happy.
I am very happy. I absolutely love working for Network Rail. They are an amazing company with lots of brilliant people. And if I have one regret, it's that I didn't start sooner. Is that I hadn't gone out of university and gone onto the railway in some form. But I'm glad I'm there now. And I'm not the only one. There are lots of people out there who may have seen the show or may have seen some of the other railway shows that were on and gone, you know what, I could do that. The railway family's huge. It's so varied and it's wonderful. There's a job for everyone.
And that's the brilliant thing about it. And you're performing, you are key workers. Let's be honest about this. You know, when we're out there applauding on a Thursday night, it isn't just everybody else, it's you guys as well. And Matthew, congratulations for you on qualifying as well.
Yes, no, after the programme I did go and qualify to become a train guard with West Midlands Trains.
Yeah.
And you're loving it, aren't you?
Yes,
I
very
saw the
much so.
tweets, and it's just, you know. But that's the thing. It's just wonderful. It's something bigger than us, and I love being a part of it. Being on the big railway is wonderful.
Oh, yes.
Well, I was very nearly on the big railway. I auditioned to become either a railway apprenticeship in either accountancy or in stores management. Unfortunately, I wasn't picked, and whilst I had a job at King's Cross, it wasn't exciting, and that was how I ended up in banking. But I actually did 3 summers on the railway and nearly became an apprentice myself.
We're seeing that gorgeous viaduct just now, and the electric
Wrong
loco
loco.
crossing it. I will say I'm quite hard on the electric loco in a future episode of the programme. And, the last episode of the programme, actually. I say future, like we've got loads to go, but we don't really. This is the penultimate. I'm quite hard on the loco, but I must say, actually, even Roundhouse's little electric locos, they are remarkable little machines.
Yeah.
I love this.
just-
Andy surreptitiously going out, I'm going to get steam up.
Yeah.
I love it. I think, had they not switched over at this point, there would have been a riot.
I don't think many people realised that is what had happened straight away. It was kind of, it cascaded through the teams.
Yeah.
And the level of indignation got stronger
Yeah.
and stronger. Oh, look at Andy's Garden Railway. Look at that. Beautiful.
I love Andy's rebellious streak. I am, yeah.
I must admit, I wouldn't want to upset him.
No.
He's a great guy, though. Really, really great guy.
Well, as I say, to be able to produce food by sticking it in locos' stroke boxes and turn up at the final destination, the one he showed us was literally when he packed it into Tornado's
Yes.
stroke box full of ice, and it was there at the end of the day, fully cooked. I mean, the guy is a genius.
I love the
Looking forward to
names
seeing him do it in
on
Clan
his
Lights,
railway.
Firebox next. Sorry, Matthew.
So I was just saying, I love the names on Andy's railways. Rio, up the junction,
Yes.
Amarillo. Severn Valley is one of my absolute favourite heritage railways. I know I'm biased as a volunteer on the Nene Valley. I think that's my absolute favourite. But the Severn Valley is truly stunning.
Yes.
Stunning railway.
I drove a Manor on there for my 50th birthday.
Oh, you lucky devil.
All-time highlights, I'll tell you.
It is definitely up there as one of the top railways in the country. I mean, I'm biased. I've volunteered on a couple, but the Bluebell will always have a very big place in my heart because of how much I visited it as a kid.
Yeah.
Having worked for it and volunteered for it, you know, sometimes we miss the point. I think it's like when you see on was it National Preservation Forum? What's the best loco in preservation? What's the best looking one?
Well, everyone's going to give you a different answer, aren't they? You know,
it's not the point, is it?
It's, you know,
it's the movement. It's the
oh,
heritage
that
railway
flame there!
movement.
Bloody hell! I nearly had my eyebrows taken off once or twice on this trip.
Ooh.
Yes.
And have done since getting my own one, because, you know, it's only been a couple of years. I obviously forgot about, you know, filling the gas and not trying to light the thing straight away, because I'm smart.
I have to say, I've got to get one. I've got to get a live steamer for the garden.
You do.
I've got a live steam mallard. It broke down.
Oh yes,
during
I've
the
seen
Winter
this.
Steam
Yeah,
Rally this year.
yeah.
Absolutely
I was gutted
gutted.
when you said that. It was.
It's still waiting to be sent off to Hornby. The chap who fixes them has. I've got a slot, and I'll send it off, and they'll fix it, and they'll send it back to me for 25 quid.
Oh, magic.
Full service and parts. It's extraordinary. When it first came out, I had it for Christmas. It was the train set I got that Christmas, which I wasn't expecting, because, you know, Dad didn't have a lot of money. And it turned up, and he built this beautiful baseboard with the railway.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a wonderful memory. But it's the smell. That's why Silver Lady still evokes such a great response.
Yes,
even now.
absolutely.
The smell and the sound, you know.
And I think it was what upset us about the other one coming in, was it just didn't smell right.
No.
Well, if you get a smell from an electric loco, there's something wrong.
Yeah. That's the time to start panicking.
Well, thank you for that, because I don't know whether you know, Matthew, but I've just acquired my first LGB loco.
Have you? Fantastic.
Yes, I managed to pick up a Fiery Elias tram engine at an auction for a very good price.
Oh, wonderful.
Excellent.
As I said, it's not quite live steam, and I don't think the budget will ever quite run to live steam.
No, but
I've got something to take round, and you know, if people's friends invite me over and their track's electrified, you know, that can come and get a run out between firing up the steam.
This was the first day that I did where I wasn't with Team C track laying.
I think I was asleep.
I think you were.
Probably.
I think I was asleep for that first half.
Yes.
Well, I didn't think you were meant to be coming out with us at all that day.
Well, I got really fed up being on my own at the camp, so I said, "Can you drop me off and I'll go do some more track." I hate sitting still.
Yeah, but you do need to recharge your batteries occasionally, and I was not expecting you.
Oh, the crowds.
Oh, I know. It was the best thing whenever the train went through a town. You just got these people lining the street. I mean, even little villages, you know, the track went through like these little places with just 2 or 3 houses clustered together. Every gate, every driveway, someone at the end of it. It was mad.
It was wonderful. Because at the end of the day, this series got people excited about Scotland and the Great Glen Way, and this was going to be their meal ticket for the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was one person that we met. It was a couple in a car on one of the night shifts, and it was the most miserable night of the project for me. And they took great exception to the fact that the production company had closed the road and were on about calling the police and how this was completely unacceptable and this, that, the other. And it's really disheartening when you see something like that. But I try and look at it from the point of view that was 2 people out of hundreds that weren't like that. I love this shot of Silver Lady driving through the town. There's
Well,
the
I'm at the
Piper
ads.
again. Right, I'm into the ad break as well now.
Yeah, and here we go. I've got the goat this time. The TK Maxx goat, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey. Right, let's have a look in the chat room. Let's see. Will, I was moping about having lost my way with the big railway during the show, but as of 2020-ish, I'm nearly back. Oh, fantastic, Will.
Well done, Will.
Andy once offered me refuge and warmth in his pannier tank when Simon abandoned me for a trip uphill on the SVR to Bridge North on Tornado. Fantastic. Though I'm
Sorry.
Two-Face starts says, I'm going to be volunteering with Tyseley in the future as it's my closest, but the Severn Valley is my favourite preserved railway. It is a beautiful line. It really
Yes,
is. I must go
absolutely.
again when Plague disappears. It's a stunning railway. Absolutely gorgeous. Although, I have to say, I'm a little disappointed with you all that you haven't all planned a trip to the Nene Valley.
If you recall, Matthew, 2 years ago, I was at the Nene Valley,
Yeah.
having taken my apprentice group there on a trip.
And I wasn't there. I know. I was
I know.
gutted. Yeah. Paul has come once or twice and had a ride in my guard's compartment to have a look at how it's all done. But it would be lovely to see a few more of the guys from Biggest Little Railway there.
Well, I would tell you this, Matthew. My daughters actually believe that the Nene Valley was where Santa lived as a kid. Because I think for 6 years in a row, we came up, all three daughters, my wife, myself, and Granny Chris, would come up to the Nene Valley. We'd have a wonderful day out, with the carol singers, getting on the train, meeting Santa, getting a present, having a tipple or something, and
Yes.
juice and biscuits for the kids, and it was very special. The Nene Valley do a fantastic Christmas outing, and I can only recommend it to people.
I mean, I'm biased because, again, one of the volunteers, but I started my journey with the Nene Valley as a trolley dolly on the Santas one year. I think that was 2012 I did that. But it's such a marvellous atmosphere, and it's done so well, and I would recommend going and doing it. If you've got kids, it's magical. If you're an adult, it's a great laugh. I would thoroughly recommend going and doing it. It's very different this year, of course, because we've had to be COVID compliant, and unfortunately because of the lockdown we had to knock the first 2 dates on the head, which was thoroughly depressing for everyone concerned, but these things are sent to try us.
But the other
But
thing
I
I
do
would
recommend
recommend is Simon's line at the Bluebell. The Mid-Hands
Yes.
and various other lines are now doing these wonderful train of lights.
Mm.
And I have got to go and see one of these before Christmas finishes, because this is just something that's quite unique.
I've always been in two minds about the Train of Lights things, because from the outside they look spectacular. They are magical. However, they're more for the people on the track side, aren't they? I don't think you
I've
get
got
the
the
same
show
effect
back.
riding it.
I've got the show back just to say.
Okay, cool. I'm still in the ad, so we'll give it a minute
Right, hang
or
on,
two.
let me pause it.
Shout
Just
when
on
you're
the
ready,
train
then,
of
because
light,
I'm at the
Matthew.
pause.
Just on the train of light,
Yeah.
myself and my fiance, we're booked up to go to the Mid-Hands next week, actually.
Okay.
Hang on. There was a word I just heard.
No, stop that. We'll have a chat later. We'll have a chat later.
We will now.
God, you're a bunch of gossip mongers, the lot of you.
But we're
No,
booked to
no,
go
he
next
used-
week. We're booked to go next week. I am really looking forward to it. A, because it's going to be the first steam train that she travels on in her life, which is a weird stat.
That is very odd. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's odd to us because we're railway people, but to non-railway people, this is normal.
yeah, allegedly,
But,
yes.
I actually think it will be really lovely for her to see, not just the lights, but how the railway operates, the people that are there. The reason I picked the Mid-Hands is because I couldn't get a booking at the Bluebell. But the Mid-Hands
I'm sure the
railway
Mid-Hands will be thrilled to know that they were your fallback railway.
Well, that's the thing, right? They should have been my first choice, actually, because Chris Ellick, who's our chief engineer for Clanline, that I'm treasurer for,
Yes, of course.
is also their chief engineer over at the Mid-Hands Railway. So he should have been my first choice. But I'm looking forward to catching up with him next Saturday. And I know it's going to be lovely. The main thing, Matthew, we should support all the railways.
Quite right. I'm 100% in agreement with you there.
Yeah,
Go and find your local railway, book a ticket to go and go on it next year, because they are desperate for money. Wherever you are, there will be a line within driving distance. Go and find it and go and support it, because if we don't, we are... And I cannot stress this enough. We are very likely to lose some of the smaller ones if they do not get support next year.
Well,
so go out and support them.
It's crazy. We need to do
Mad.
it. Right, I'm ready.
I'm ready too. Lawrence, you ready?
Rolling.
Right, okay. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, that looks nice and neat terrain.
Yeah, very little of that, wasn't there?
Yes.
I'm not even sure where that was. That was definitely an area we didn't go and lay track.
Yeah, I don't recognise it either, so... I recognise this. This is the, the trestle bridge and then the counterbalance railway.
Can I just say, I'm looking at them building this again.
Mm.
I know I love the viaduct because it's pretty and it's by the water and all the rest of it, but the trestle really is a bloody work of art.
It is. And like I say, it's my favourite structure the special build team made. It was... I mean, it's functional, which is brilliant. That's the one thing I will say about the viaduct. It's very pretty to look at. You could have got away with just going in the channel. I mean, yeah, there's the risk you'd have lost the track if the water had gone up, but you could have just done it like that. It was very much
the fun in that?
I know it's not as fun, but it is very much a sort of staged challenge, if that makes sense. That trestle bridge, not staged at all. That is a genuine engineering challenge to overcome, and it not only looks good, it works beautifully.
Yes, agree. Absolutely agree.
And a definite companion to Goat Canyon.
Oh, look at that. She's just going across it now.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. I knew it would be fine.
Mm.
I knew it would be fine.
That was my fantastic trailer moment, that, wasn't it?
They did it.
Yeah.
The curved track, though, I've got to say, was sort of a success and not a success. I personally feel like if we'd had proper curved moulded sections,
yeah, it would have been better. Yeah,
but obviously this allowed us to have light curves. So...
Team C gave up with it about day 3. I think we started just literally, we would do it for the big corners that you literally couldn't do it, but where we could budget with a mitre box and the straight track, that's what we did, because it was just easier.
Yes, I did see one curve that was very reminiscent of an old-fashioned threepenny piece.
All I'm going to say is I took Silver Lady over several of those curves and it worked beautifully. It didn't come off once. Every time we got to a piece of curved track that went from a straight bit to a curved bit, off. Every time.
I don't remember when we were driving it on the on the bit with the tunnel. I don't remember seeing a single bit of curved track on that. No,
that whole section beautifully straight, and it rarely came off because the terrain was perfect. It over a couple of times, but that was it.
Fact though, it didn't come off when I drove it.
No,
I was really proud of that. It was significantly slower.
Yes,
it never came off when I drove it.
Quality sometimes gets a better result than quantity.
Absolutely.
No, it didn't. They had to take me off driving eventually. I must say, Morning Team were absolutely brilliant with the loco, and it was testament to them that they got as far with it as they did. I think we would have had the electric loco in play much sooner and for much longer had we not had Andy and Cameron on that Morning Team. They were pretty sort of marvellous.
Well, I've now got Claire scouting the site of the Cameron cage.
Yes, we're just seeing that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching that too. Oh, look at that. There's the Festiniog. Is it the Festiniog or the Welsh Highland?
It is the Festiniog, yeah.
Let me just... I'm a moment behind you. Where are we?
Just
they're
on the real railway.
they're just talking about the helix at the moment, and they've just mentioned the Festiniog.
Festiniog, and more to the point, the deviation.
Here it is, yeah.
Festiniog, because originally it was a gravity-run line, but with the flooding of the valley for the pump storage system, they had to build the deviation loop upwards.
Yes.
However, the footage is West Highland.
It's West
Well,
Highland.
it's
Is it
slipping-
West Highland?
No,
I'm
no,
sure that's Festiniog.
No,
It is.
if you
Okay,
check that
let's
back,
not
there's 3
upset
bits of
either of the
Festiniog and 1 bit
railways.
of West Highland.
Because bear in mind we've got this history between them for many, many years, right? Let's not upset either of them. Let's say it's both of them.
Yes.
Shown at different times.
Yes.
Because I love them both, and I don't want to be banned from
I would dearly adore, and I fully intend to do this one day. I'm gutted I couldn't do it when I was in Wales last time, to do the full length of both railways in the same day, because I think that would be
Well,
absolutely
they run
marvellous.
that in April, don't they?
Yes.
There's a special train that does the whole length.
Oh,
of
is
that
there? Oh,
in
that's
April, and
brilliant.
That's definitely
Wow.
one to book for.
I will
This
keep
is
an
how
eye
they
on that.
plan the spiral. That's amazing.
It's incredible, isn't it? We're about to see a Lady Anne from Roundhouse, which looks very much like a Silver Lady, but is a more basic model, and is therefore about £400 cheaper.
Is it a grey one?
No, it's a slightly off shade of green from the one that Silver Lady was. Yeah, you're seeing it now on screen. There you go.
Well, I'm slightly ahead of you because they're now building the spiral.
Yeah, you might be just ever so slightly. Yes.
Yeah,
God damn it.
I'm slightly behind you.
Ah.
Right, I paused it. I've got the screenshot of it building up to the spiral.
Okay.
I've got the graphic.
Oh, the graphic. Yeah, we're on that now. Yeah.
Right. Okay. There we go. Right. So I'm around.
We're around the same
We're
place.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plywood's being put together.
Right. Lawrence, I owe you a quick explanation while they're building the spiral. So we're going to go official in the new year. But yes. And I'm very, very happy. She is the one, as you know. Well, you know, because I've been telling you this for the last year.
We all knew this. It was just a question of when you were going to realise.
Well, we want.
Reddy and I are actually delighted for you.
Thank you. Well, the proper ring and the proposal is in the new year, but yes, we're.
Wait, hang on. Did I miss something?
Yes. Simon used the F word, didn't you, Simon?
I
did
missed
use-
that.
I did use the F word. Can I just say this is my ring.
Yeah.
Nada has an identical one.
Lovely.
Because actually, Nada's family is Muslim.
Okay.
And I've undergone a blessing to be introduced into the family.
Fantastic.
And you know, we're doing lots of different things behind the scenes in order to, you know, do things properly, as it were.
Oh,
But her
marvellous.
family's absolutely wonderful, and I'm hoping to take her on a lot of these railways.
Well,
when,
congratulations
we're
to
able
both
travel
of you.
next year.
That's
Thank you.
fantastic news.
Appreciate it. I'm very excited.
And I will say, Matthew, I've met the lady, and she is absolutely brilliant, and they are a great couple together.
Oh, well, that is good news to hear.
Yes.
Absolutely marvellous.
As I said, it was just a question of when they caught up to the position the rest of us had reached, of realising they were absolutely right for each other.
Well, and one last shout out, because she's a surgeon in the NHS. She has worked so hard this year, as has everyone in the NHS. And the fact we're able to do this remotely and do this wonderful live stream, but know that we've got this amazing system to support us and save us and help us, you know, we must do everything we can to make sure it's well funded, looked after. Read whatever political stuff you like into that, but please remember there's people like my fiance working so hard to keep you all safe.
And for those of us who are watching the stream not in the UK, the NHS is absolutely free at the point of need. If you need to see a doctor, if you need to go to hospital, if you need to be treated, there's no looking and thinking, can my insurance cope? Have I got the money to pay? You will be looked after.
Yeah. Because everyone pays into it through their taxes, which is exactly what taxes should be for. I'm looking at you, America.
This has been a party political broadcast on behalf of the biggest little railway party.
And
Do you know what? If we ran for government, we'd probably sort it all out within minutes.
But I will say that I know, but three of us, there's a lot of different opinion about how to govern. But each one of us knows that we would never want to get rid of the NHS.
No,
Yeah,
too
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. And Lawrence, you and I, we've had many chats about this. We should get back to the railway.
Yeah, there's a programme in the background that's getting in the way of our political discussion.
Well, I've got Hamish looking rather resplendent. I must admit that guy's waistline was always finer than mine. Lovely bloke, though. I did have a beer with him.
Was it Hamish or Hadrian?
Sorry, Hadrian.
Hadrian, that's it, yeah. Because we all just knew him as H. Or, in Team C's case, the lunch stealer.
I'm at the ads.
Same here, yeah.
No, he runs a wonderful company called HMS Engineering that actually services steam traction engines and also builds props for TV series. He's got quite a history, and he is a wonderful character.
Okay, so into the chat room. Justin, one of my favourite things from the show was the piper. I'm a trumpet player and I learned Highland Cathedral because I heard it in Biggest Little Railway. Marvellous.
Well done.
Two-Faced Tart Production says Neen Valley on the cards at some stage, although the Tallylin Glossworks and Stratfold Barn are the main ones I want to go to and revisit next year. Derry, the Neen Valley is on the cards for me during 2021 for another project, hopefully. Message me about that, Derry. Now I'm intrigued.
Well, I know a bit about it, and what I will say is there's NDAs in place which will limit it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll keep that in mind. Right, he also says, well done, Simon, and that is the Festiniog. Thank you. Simon...
Thank you very much.
Derry, as usual, knows the right answer.
Yeah.
Justin says...
Derry came and saw us recording Greatest Model Railway, Great Model Railway Challenge last year, and that was really lovely to see him. We need more reunions.
Yes.
We need more reunions, bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yep. He is also a whiz at finding railway items up at auction. He was chasing a very large parcel of LGB track today, which he wasn't successful, but he's helping me source some stuff.
Fantastic.
That guy knows more second-hand shop dealers than I didn't know the shops existed.
Okay, Justin says, Simon, my cousin is a nurse near Camden and Philadelphia, who was the first at our hospital to get COVID. She's been on the front line, so much respect to your fiancée. Also, congratulations.
Can I just say, fantastic to hear from Justin, and best wishes to his cousin, and amazing work.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, we're all, it's quite easy for us over here with our NHS to point at America and go, ha, you're useless. I think what we got to remember is that whatever the medical health system, there are still people on the ground doing a fantastic job, and it is not their fault that your system sucks. So, you know, all respect to the people all over the world, really, who are coping so fantastically with what is an unprecedented health crisis.
I just on that though, Matthew, let me just throw in one thing, because my sister lived in the States, right? You have to remember, it's not just a difference of culture.
No.
It's a difference of how they actually want to create a society.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, this is something the Brits have got right, massively, the NHS, which is that you do not pay at point of use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone pays into the collective pot, which means if there is an emergency, you will be looked after.
Yes.
In the United States, you have to have insurance, which is you pay at the point of use. Which is
daft,
different.
because you should not ever be in a position where you're deciding whether or not you live or get into masses of debt.
Well, blood test in the US is $3,000.
Yeah.
I know this
It's
because we had to argue the toss with my sister's insurers back in 2017, I think it was, when she was doing really badly in the States in New York. And it was, well, do I go to the doctors and do I have to get a blood test for $3,000 or what? It's crazy. For a basic blood test, $3,000.
It's daft.
Joking. No one's got that in the States. No one has got cash to burn like that. 99% of their population. It's ludicrous. Anyhow,
Yes.
back onto the railway.
Again, yes, we can.
But no. One thing I will say, I will echo Simon's comments about the hard work of everybody in the NHS, but also I would like to applaud the amazing work of the people who managed to develop a vaccine against this
Yes.
evil condition. In what could only be record time. Now that you've done the vaccine, could you now go on to a cure for midges, please?
If we only had the money and resources we threw at COVID to throw at midges, we'd have all had a much better time, I think. And on that note,
names, but we also had ticks.
oh yes,
Bloody ticks
ooh.
on the thing. And
Yeah, I
was
got
lucky
one.
I didn't get one.
Yeah.
But they are everywhere in Scotland.
Oh, they're
It's all-
vicious, aren't they?
Yeah.
Nasty little buggers.
Shall we run this thing? Because
Yes.
I need to let my wife out of
Yes,
prison very
let's
shortly.
continue with the program. I think.
And I think I need to go and sort some dinner shortly. So,
yes,
yes,
let's keep
get on.
keep this trainer rolling.
Now,
if
look
we-
at the width of this pavement, because that was what we were working with. This is the only main road running from southwest to northeast in Scotland,
Okay.
and the pavement is minuscule, and you've got all those heavy lorries whipping past the work site.
If we haven't done so already, folks, I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And I'm seeing a big lorry full of logs going past at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is just probably the most hairy work site. When we were up in the hills, the challenge was different, but alongside the road was something which you really had to watch so carefully.
Paul looks really chuffed here. I'm so happy.
Yes, it does. Oh, look, Margaret and Pippa.
I know. Lovely pair, those two.
Well, I'm looking at a crocked Jenny.
Yes, we've just seen that. Yeah. Yeah, poor Jenny
I have
ended
to
up in
say-
hospital as well, didn't she, briefly?
Again-
Oh, no, she didn't go to hospital. I tell a lie.
All of the different teams, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. We were so lucky with the groups that we had, I think.
We were, yes.
And also the fact that we were
drum
quite...
and drop it.
Oh no.
Oh, dear.
We'll put a good word in there for the Loch Ness Inn at Drum and Drocket.
Yeah, it was really good, actually. Yeah, but it was just... Was that the day where we got properly soaked, Lawrence? Here's the cars!
Yes, it was, but... I was about to say, this is when you got your lifetime's dream to shoot an entire episode of Top Gear.
Yeah. Oh my god, the Alvis and the Ford. He had a Corvette Stingray. Jesus Christ, the Oldsmobile. Oh my god, 1 horsepower, 1 cylinder Oldsmobile. Oh, look at this.
But you got to drive the Alvis, didn't you?
I didn't drive, I was a passenger. I
You're
would
a
have loved to have
passenger.
done it.
I think you guys are miles ahead of
He
me.
had a Sierra Cosworth. Oh my god, look at that. Right, okay, so this bit here, right? So in
Just
the
pause a
shed, there was
second,
one
'cause-
particular car I was so focused on.
Which one?
Hang on,
Which
hang
one?
Right, so I looked on many of the cars, right? But the one car that stood out for me was the Cosworth, the Sierra Cosworth. I think it was an XRI. Someone is going to come along on the. It was this model, blah blah blah. But the basic fact is that model is the one that my mum had 20 something years ago, and she drove like an absolute loon.
I think I've caught up with you now because we're now in Drum the Drocket, so I think
Right,
I'm about to
just
see the
opening the door.
carpet.
Just
Yes.
open.
Yeah.
I've got me bent over a bonnet in a very awkward position.
Context is important, Simon. I think you'll agree.
context is important.
But to go in and touch some of these cars,
These were stunning.
I was in heaven. Like I'm green. I'm an environmentalist at heart. I know petrol cars have to die, but please, for the love of God, can I just enjoy them a little bit longer? Please, like.
and he'd even got the Indianapolis 500 pace car in there,
Yeah,
hadn't
he
he?
did. That was incredible, wasn't it? That was amazing. Right, are we all caught up?
I'm just
Yes.
seeing you opening the bonnet of a car.
Yes, I'm on that. Yeah.
Yep. So we've just cut to Amy.
Oh, look at the Alvis. Oh my God.
And
If
there
You
we
look
go.
in your
wedding
element here, I have to
want
say.
That wedding car. Nada would love that.
Well, I know where he is. I'm not going to let it slip on a live stream channel because obviously we want the collection to be safe. But I know where the guy is, and the only trick would be getting it this far south.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that is gorgeous. That just looks like something from another era, doesn't it? It's not what you would recognise as a car now at all.
When he fired it up, the Oldsmobile, oh my God. Every single bit of me was going.
And it's tiller steering, no nasty steering wheels.
He let me ride on it.
Oh yeah, I've just seen the disbelief on your face there.
Safety. I just got on it and we went for a drive, and it was wonderful.
Oh.
That is what life should be about. Damn it!
And Amy was right. It really did sound like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
It was 1 horsepower, 1 cylinder petrol engine with a chain drive. Heaven. Absolute bloody heaven.
Lawrence, you're right. It does sound like a steam engine, doesn't it?
It does. It was a unique sound.
Oh.
Then, of course, there was this preserved line.
Well, what's left of it, yeah.
Oh, and this is
this was where we had our where we had our tea, wasn't it, Simon? On that night when we did the Fort Augustus Railway section.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. There's this beautiful old station. They've got a little run of track, and I think ultimately they would like to sort of have it a bit longer and run trains, but at the moment it's just a small museum, and it's extraordinary because it's this tiny little gem of railway history that's just been kind of it's almost like it's been sort of frozen in time, hasn't it? Because just out of nowhere on this footpath there's suddenly a railway station.
And a little diesel, am I right?
Yeah, that's
diesel.
right,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I've still got pictures of that.
The other thing we found was in Drumnadrocket Village, where somebody got a 10.5-inch gauge line running around their car.
I saw that
Amazing
one of the
stuff.
days. I went to the local pub with Dick for lunch, and we saw that railway on the way back. It's a marvellous piece of work, that.
It was something just completely unexpected.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Dr. Beeching, one of the greatest villains, and simultaneously one of the heroes of the railway preservation movement. Because, yes, he closed thousands of miles of railways.
I'll tell you what, right?
but-
We've got Beeching Mark II at the moment with the bloody IEA. God. I would just like people who talk about roads and driverless cars and bloody Hyperloop to wake up. It's like to wake up.
You're solving a problem that the Victorians solved. Everybody drink.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
The chat will
right
probably be
again.
confused about this. Before we came on air, we were saying we should probably have a drinking game by where we take a drink every time Dick says the word Victorian.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Look at this.
I love the Dick Strawbridge facsimile there.
Also known as Stick Drawbridge.
Stick Drawbridge, I like
Has
it.
anyone told Dick that we're doing this? Is he
He
aware?
must be aware. I think he keeps tabs on Twitter, and I think I warned him that this was happening.
I mean, I've got to say, I thought he was a lovely guy. Really,
Absolutely,
really lovely.
yeah.
He bought me a beer the night that we all came back when we were absolutely drenched, and I was like, my jacket was literally just dripping water onto the floor. This is meant to be a waterproof coat, and it just soaked through.
This is the Lag and Lock bridge being recycled here.
Yes, the top
Oh,
section
yeah.
was at Lag and Locks. But the other thing I owed Dick for was the fact he wouldn't come away from the chateau in January, which is how I ended up on the BBC breakfast sofa with Claire talking to Nada and Charlie, which was terrifying because film TV is one thing, but live TV,
Oh, totally.
I was literally terrified, but it was good fun until at the point at which Nagaman Chetty asked me to pass her silver lady, and as I held it by the buffer beams, she put both carefully manicured hands underneath and got covered in engine oil.
Oh my God.
But she was lovely about it. They cut away to a film segment, and immediately makeup came in and got her all cleaned up.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about the brush.
Yeah.
Now, this was a point of contention in my household when we watched it, because Andy was quite fairly, I think, quite critical of the fact, there was a suggestion that our team taking over didn't want to know what was being said by the morning team. Some of us were really interested. We wanted the benefit of their expertise. Martin, however...
Martin just gunned it, and you know what? It's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to get angry at Martin for
No,
doing his
nor
own
me.
thing. We're all doing
No.
our own thing in different ways.
Absolutely. No.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at those old shots of the Bluebell. Goodness.
Oh, stunning.
Well, I can remember getting on Stepney at Sheffield Park, and Horsted Keynes was still being used by the electric service. That's
Oh,
how
blimey,
long-
that's going back.
Incredible. Yeah.
But we are lucky. We have, I think, over 150 preserved railways in this country.
More than
Even the
anywhere else in the world.
I was about to say, even the States, it's in the dozens. So we are remarkably lucky. And because a certain Welshman was too lazy to scrap the locos he'd got, there was a steady supply of locos to be done. But of course, now people like the A1 Trust have actually gone out there and built brand new locos from the plans of the originals, so that even some class
Oh,
locos
dear,
that
it's
were
off again.
preserved are now available.
Well, you're rightly picking out Tornado because she's the biggest one built to date, right? But I do want to throw it out there that the narrow gauge world did it first.
Yes.
The narrow gauge world have done an amazing job in recreating many lost locomotives, including miniature ones. And the one that always gets me actually to date, and is actually, you wouldn't believe this of someone who's an LNER softie at heart, right? But it was seeing Lynn for the first time in Steam. That drew tears. That was incredible. You know,
And I'm at the ads as
Tornado,
well.
always been a big part of my life because my grandfather, and love her to bits, even today. But Lynn, seeing the Lynston and Barnstaple Railway with their own loco, goodness.
I must go to the Linton and Barnstaple Railway because that's sort of round where I used to holiday as a child. We used to holiday in Ilfracombe, stunning part of the world. But I've never been to the Linton and Barnstaple Railway, and
You've got to do it.
Mm.
You've got to do it. They are amazing people. They're doing an amazing thing. We're talking about the biggest little railway and putting a railway back, right? But the Linton and Barnstaple lot are not only putting the railway back, they're building the rolling stock.
Yes.
They've got the locos.
They're starting with nothing, and
Astonishing.
it's and their plans to eventually get the railway back into Barnstaple are absolutely extraordinary, and I hope they manage it, I have to say, because that will be a stunningly beautiful journey through Dartmoor. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right. Anything in the chat room, Matt?
A few things in the chat room.
Agreement.
I was pleased to get the comments about the trucks in the show, says Will. The production team had promised I could have a moment advocating rail as a mode of transport, so I was really glad about that. Derry, Team A got all the luck. I have pictures going around the Drumna-Drocket narrow gauge lines. And Beeching opened more lines than he closed. That's actually true. Justin, I've been taking a swig of root beer every time. Two-Faced Tart Production, Strawbridge Dick. Okay. And Derry again, classic Martin. Yeah. Look, Martin was a lovely guy, but he was very enthusiastic, and sometimes he was enthusiastic to the point of detriment to the whole proceedings. But I don't hold it against him.
My first sight of Martin was at the first campsite when he came marching up with his enormous inflatable double mattress that he'd pumped up, and it was about 6 inches deep.
You've got to admire a guy who's that prepared.
Absolutely.
I'm in complete agreement, given that my mattress was horrendous.
Oh, they were terrible, weren't they?
They really were.
Yeah, I mean, for those that are watching on the stream who weren't there, we slept in tents on the ground, on ground sheets, on foam, thin mattresses every night. Production slept in hotels, but only because they needed the power supply to recharge all the batteries for the microphones, the cameras, the mixing desks, and everything else. And they were up most of the night changing batteries. But we were sleeping in those tents every night.
Oh, it was genuinely.
If you could sleep.
Oh, awful. It almost makes me never want to go camping again. I have to be honest. But that said, I loved the camaraderie of the whole affair. That was.
Can I just throw it out there that I spent 3 weeks in Iceland camping, flew from Iceland to Scotland, thinking, "Oh, this will be lovely. I won't have to go back in a tent for a little bit." And then it was how many weeks in Scotland in a tent?
And not
well done.
But to add to the fun, Simon did the traditional air travellers thing. You know, breakfast in Reykjavik, dinner in Inverness, luggage in Paris.
Yes, incredible. Only me. The other chap who went home, but I stayed.
Oh, blimey.
They washed the clothes that I had managed to get through to Inverness after 4 days.
Fantastic.
And I'm looking at Simon on my team and thinking, my God, does he dress like this normally? And it turned out they were the only clothes he got to wear. He was out there laying track in a suit.
Yeah. Oh, goodness me. Right, I'm through the ads. Are you guys ready to go?
Ready to roll when you...
Okay, all right, because I'm...
Count us in.
Let's do
Final
this.
section.
Okay, 10 minutes to go, so...
Oh, carry on, sorry.
Sorry, no. What were you going to say, mate?
No. It's just I've got Flow is on the TV. I've just paused it.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So we're going to go in 3, 2, 1.
Go. And that's it. We're on the final stretch, and we've barely talked about the episode. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. No worries.
Oh,
If the people on the feed are happy, we're happy.
I think they're happy, so I'm happy. We actually did really well on this night, I have to say. We did eat the miles up. It was, it did go real. Probably not as well as the morning team, I have to say, but we managed a fair old lick. We got a good chunk out of the way.
Yeah. Dakota, bless him.
Yes.
Dakota, God, he's interesting.
He's a unique fellow, isn't he?
But he does organise a good exhibition.
He does. He very much does. Dakota and I actually had some very good chats about politics during the course of the series, and I think it's fair to say, Lawrence, because you know my politics, that Dakota and I are at opposite ends of the spectrum, shall we say?
Yes, he's marginally to the right of Attila the Hun.
Yes, he is. And I'm not. I'm possibly to the right of Jeremy Corbyn.
And for some reason, and he did wax eloquent on several occasions, he does believe he's God's gift to women as well.
Yes.
I'm making no comment on that.
And that's one for the ladies to comment on. We're blokes. What would we know?
Yeah.
I personally have discovered in the last decade that I know nothing.
I will say this: we had to take the remote control off him because he was a speed demon. It's like he just wanted to crank open the regulator.
So they took the remote off me because I was too slow.
And they took it off him because he was too quick, yes.
And because I think Martin was on the point of killing him.
Oh, no. Goodness.
Because Martin was a proud Scot,
and
Dakota believed in the Union as a way of subjugating the outer elements.
Oh, God, I remember that. Oh.
Florence, however, bless her, could drive.
Yes.
Have you guys got up to the spiral yet?
Not yet, no.
No,
Right.
We're still with us mucking about with the steam
climbing
engine.
a hill backwards.
Excellent. Right, I've just ordered some food.
Yes, I owe my good lady for that.
Thank you very much for doing this, both, by the way.
Meal for one. Oh dear.
All right, Claire now is coming down the steps by the spiral.
I've got right. Okay,
Right, I'm at the spiral. Claire's now coming down the steps. Yeah.
We're in the same bit again.
Cool.
And we call this Cameron's cage. You'll see why next week. But somebody had to go inside there just to make sure Silver Lady didn't plummet in the middle.
Yeah. How did he actually get in? Because I wasn't there for that bit.
Over the top.
I figured as much.
Who climbed the tree, Lawrence?
I think he climbed the tree. I know Phil took one look at it, and let's be honest about it. Phil also filmed for the other series that was on at the time, the SAS thing, on Channel 4, which meant that Phil had done some pretty hairy things, but Phil was not prepared to go in there. But Cameron was in there.
Can we just talk about how many engineering terms are double entendres? It's
Too many.
You can't get away from it, can you? You do any engineering conversation, there's at least two in every discussion.
Can I just say, Network Rail runs on double entendres.
I can imagine so.
And any steam locomotive runs on well-greased nipples, so I mean, we just leave it there.
I think the thing that has made me most, shall we say, cautious of ever saying anything on television ever again, right, was hearing James May talking about the cocking slack flunge, or slacking cock flunge, or oh god, what was it? Someone please correct me. What was it he said?
They will.
It's
They
about
will.
P2. It's about the Gresley P2 that's being built. Slacking. Oh god, someone correct me. I can't remember what it was, but basically it was horrendous.
This is the bit where we're coming into Drumnadrocket, is it?
Yeah, that's Drumnadrocket.
Yeah.
That's
No,
fine.
sorry, no. Invermoriston, sorry, not Drumnadrocket. I flinch every time she comes off the track.
God, look at that. Yes, get in there, Cameron. Yes, absolutely. Totally agree.
I think you're ahead of us again.
Oh, Lord.
That's actually Simon with the Mauve headphones on.
Oh, yeah. So I'm about 10 seconds ahead. Hang on. You'll get to, tell me when you get to Cameron.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Right, got him. Right, so basically, this is one of the shining, still is, shining stars of railway engineering, in my opinion. And, shall we say engineering generally, because actually he does...
Yeah.
It's more traction engine side, but seriously, what a mind. What brilliant mind. Absolutely astonishing. And for someone so young as well.
Absolutely. All credit to him. The guy is a legend.
I will say that Claire and H have been so impressed with him, they've been actually helping him as well. I think he has spent time visiting H and doing things with him.
That is really good.
Oh my god, we're in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
How's that happened?
We've been talking.
Matthew, you're on.
I know. Yeah, I think episode 5 is where I get the most kind of camera pieces to camera. But I don't get much. I'm not bad on the exposure in this one. Certainly the last few minutes.
I have to say, episode 4 I think is my favourite one because of the winch.
Yes.
For me, it's episode 3 because it's the only time I've actually DJ'd on TV.
I will say this. I've said there, I'm surprised Silver Lady isn't sulking constantly. She knew how to sulk. It's kind of a cliche, but anyone who's worked with steam locomotives will tell you they have moods. Silver Lady did throw a wobbly quite a lot when we were with her. She was... this is the thing. We talk about steam engines. We say they have moods. And what we actually mean is, not enough water, not enough steam, not this, that, the other. But you know what? Yes, there are technical reasons why steam engines have their moods. And it is kind of a romanticised way of looking at it. But you are basically looking after a living thing. It's, it's all elemental. It's fire, water, earth, all of that wonderful stuff. And, if you get something wrong, it's very easy for that thing you're taming to go bang. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So when we say they've got a personality, we do mean it. And Silver Lady's personality was honestly, I'm so impressed with that little engine. Again, why I now own one, because
Where are the two original ones now?
they are still at Roundhouse.
Big reveal. We had two locos.
Yeah.
They have their own special shelf at Roundhouse.
Yes.
I collected it from the shelf to take to the BBC Breakfast Show and put it back. And they have their own special thing. Although she does come out occasionally, she's been in the local area of Doncaster where Roundhouse are based, and she's attended a couple of shows like the Garden Railway show where we were at. But you're absolutely right, Matthew, about the elemental thing. If you get in a car today and you turn the key, the driving experience for every individual model of that car will be almost identical.
Yeah.
But you take two steam locomotives built in the same works within a week of each other, they will drive slightly differently.
Yeah,
they will behave slightly differently.
I'm going to disagree with you, Lawrence, because I have driven two supposedly identical Volvo estates, and they couldn't have been more different. I think it depends on the factory.
I think if we say by modern standards, I think if you went in a car built in the last 5 years and got two versions of the same vehicle that were built within a week of each other, it would be basically the same experience, wouldn't it?
They're quite soulless.
Probably.
Yeah.
Whereas every single steam locomotive has a soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because I know what you're saying, and I've driven a few good electric cars in the last year, right?
I'm
And I
amazed.
felt nothing for any of them. They're very clinical. They're very scientific. They are remarkable machines. But
Now, at
you're
this
very much aware that it's the same as a microwave.
Yeah. Now, at this point, the guys were getting pretty tired.
Yes, we were exhausted, and it was like they've just said that it's past midnight. You can see me. I think that's me there on. No, that's not me. That's Mark. Sorry, we're all on our hands and knees trying to get it up this hill. And like I said earlier, Lawrence, you guys struggled carrying track up there, and fair play to you. It's a hell of a climb, but at least you could see the end.
Yeah,
You knew how far you were going. We had no idea, and here we are. We've just got to the end here. And we'd been doing that about an hour by that time. We were knackered.
and it's the last episode.
No.
No,
Not quite. Next week.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Next week,
And
yeah.
now it's the last episode.
Yeah.
Should we do that again? Should we do a second take?
No.
And now on to the last episode.
Episode. There you go.
Look, I need to release my wife from prison.
Yes, of course.
All I
Any
can
more
think
questions?
of is that he's got Rennie locked up in this big barred box somewhere. Already.
We're just going into the credits now anyway.
You need to ring in a minute and talk to her. We'll set that call up in 5. But
Okay.
before we go, Matthew, it's been a real pleasure to be with you tonight.
Of course, thank you.
Any more questions from the chat room?
Yes,
before we go?
if you have anything, do fire it in now. I don't think there's anything at the moment. Let's see. Two-Face Productions asks, has anyone been to the Telford Steam Railway? It's a small row in Shropshire, which is sort of out in the sticks, but they've got plans to run to Ironbridge. I have
Yes.
not.
Beautiful. Love it. They need to work really hard at refining certain aspects of the operation. But actually, it's wonderful because it's mostly local people running it. Absolutely brilliant. Go and visit it. Please do.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it, guys. We
Yeah.
need our preserved railways.
I'll repeat it again. If you will absolutely live within driving distance of a steam railway, I don't think there's anywhere in the country, knock on wood, that is more than an hour away from a steam railway of some description. Go to your local one, buy a ticket, have a ride, throw them a few quid in the gift shop or a charity tin. They really, really need it, and next year more than ever. Because I genuinely fear we will lose some of the smaller ones next year if they don't get the support they need. So go and support your local line.
I will also say that I'm not sure I'll be seeing everybody at Alexandra Palace next March, but the next time we do have a show at Ali Pali, I will be there, and I look forward to shaking the hand of anybody that wants to on the Model Railway Club stand. It's always a pleasure to talk to people from all around the hobby, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Again, the clubs are not struggling as much as the heritage railways, but you know, we're not meeting, we're not using our buildings, and therefore it's not been an easy time for your clubs either.
No.
If you've joined the hobby and you're getting into this hobby in a big way, again, just as there'll be a heritage railway near you, there'll be a great club near you. Get involved, because you won't have every skill, but within that club will be all the skills and the advice you'll ever want.
I think I cannot think of a better sentiment to end on, really,
Absolutely
guys. So I will say thank you very much both for coming. It has been a pleasure, as always, to
Thank
see
you,
you
Matt.
both. Thank you so much for giving up your evening. And I hope that I will see both of you very, very soon. Once,
Yes, absolutely. We'll sort something.
yeah.
We'll sort something.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, to you, to Simon, and to everybody watching on the stream, a very merry festive season.
Yes, indeed.
Take care, everyone.
You guys take care, and I will see you both soon. And to everyone on the stream, thank you very much for watching. We will be back at the same time next Saturday for episode 5, the final episode of the show. But until then, take care, have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye!
Goodbye.
Bye.